Hey there, Fortnite fam. Jacob PR here, and this is In the Lobby with none other than Iamzo. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Glad to have you here. And how did you first hear about Fortnite?
I came home from school and my friend was playing it on his console, and I tried it for the first time at his house, and I actually didn't like it. A couple days later, I tried again at his house, and then I went home, downloaded it on my console, and I just hooked onto it.
All right, so what made you take that jump from just playing the game on console, playing it with your friends at school, to just jumping right into competitive?
I've only been really competing at like the top for like the last maybe like year and a half, 2. But I was just always better than my friends on console, and I just wanted to go for it.
Is there anything specific you're looking to improve on in or out of the game?
I'm definitely looking to improve on duos, because my best FNCS placement is either 7th in Grand Royale with Dejin and Nosh, or 7th in the last 2 FNCS with Dejin. And I'm currently playing with Jamper now, so I'm definitely looking to take the #1 victory right now.
All right, speaking of Jamper, your new duo, how did you guys meet, and how did you decide on Jamper being the one?
Me and Jamper have been in the same friend group for like around a year now, and I can just tell he grinds, and I know he wants to win because he's gotten second like 2 times, and he's just like consistently in the top 5, and I know he's trying to get that #1 spot.
Is there any particular duo you're looking at, any rival, somebody you want to go up against?
I don't really have any rival in Fortnite, because I know we're uncontested, and there's no one that can really stop us besides ourselves.
What would you say your role is for the duo, and how does that work with Jamper?
My role in the duo plays a big part, because I know Jamper has a really big brain, but there's always like 2 perspectives to it, and I know Jamper is like a really good mid-ground, and this season I'm going to turn him into a height demon, and then we're just going to dominate.
This has been In the Lobby with Iamzo, but I know you got a lot of fans out there. How can they find you?
You can follow me on all my socials. It's usually just Iamzo or Iamzo1.
Thank you so much. This has been In the Lobby with Iamzo.
So my name is Kanata, and my name comes from a Canada Goose jacket. I don't know, it just came to me and I was just like, oh, Kanata or something.
So my current name right now is Mega. I started off with the name Mega Troll 457. I was just like a huge troll IRL. And then as I got into the Fortnite scene, I realized that like I was doing somewhat good, and I can't have like a professional name named Mega Troll 457.
My current in-game name is 33NANIYT. Nani comes from way back in the day. I was a big fan of Myth, and for some reason I'd say Nani a lot. Thought the word sounded cool and just rolled with that, and it stuck.
My current in-game name is Elite NPen. NPen came from a combination of my first and last name.
My name's Voyle, and the only reason I chose it is because it's a 4-letter name and I thought it looked cool.
So my in-game name is Blake, and I chose it because whenever I was born 19 years ago, my parents named me Blake. That's it.
I mean, a name is definitely like the most important thing of a player. Like, your name definitely has to be a little bit unique.
People undervalue how much advertising matters in terms of the leaderboard, and making your name something silly or not professional can definitely hurt your brand.
I feel like it's really important to have like a name that people will remember you as.
Choosing a name that separates yourself from everyone else is huge for branding.
I think what makes a great name is something that's obviously easy to say, looks cool, sounds cool.
I would say a great Fortnite name is not something like too long, I would say, but like a good like saying, like, there's no numbers in it or something.
Having a great name on Fortnite would definitely be like a shorter name in my opinion. Something really clear and easy to say.
I don't even want to answer this. This is so bad. My name was The Man Not Child. Yup, that is bad.
The only other name I've had ever was Icy Waves. I don't know why. I chose it when I was like 12 or like 11.
Whenever I started off in gaming, I made my name Blake PS because I got a PlayStation, so I just added a PS for PlayStation at the end. Whenever I got signed, I was like, I'm just gonna make it Blake because it's way simpler and way better, and then I don't have to explain what the PS is every time.
I used to have it as Spiky Meme. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
It does feel good, like you see your name, you're like, yup, that's me. That's me placing up there.
I never thought I'd be up to like where I am today. We started showing up on the leaderboards and it was just mind blowing. I did not expect it.
I never thought I'd see my name like at the top of the leaderboard before, but now that I'm like this far into my career, that's all I want to see.
Yeah, I definitely think my name is going to be up there. You know, I've worked a lot, put so much time in to become the player I am.
It's pretty surreal seeing your name up against players that you know are super good in your region. You take a step back and you look at the leaderboard and you're like, wow.
I think seeing my name against people like Uga, Mero, and others gives me perspective and showing me how far I've come, as well as how far I need to get.
When I first started playing competitively, I was like fans of all these people, and now seeing my name up there with them, it's a crazy feeling. I play this game every day, so I think I'm gonna do really good. And if I don't even know what to say.
I don't know what you're gonna show me, if it's gonna be hard or not. I don't know these pictures. Let's just see.
So I know I'm gonna do bad in this one, guys, so don't roast me wherever you guys are watching this.
This has to be Logjam, right? No, it's not Logjam. It's not Logjam. There's no way this is Logjam.
It's some type of cabin. I can tell the colors are from like the new biome.
I don't know what this is at.
I'm just gonna guess where Camp Tuttle used to be, Reality Falls.
This is a new one. I don't know where it is.
This has to be Reality Falls. That's my final answer. I knew it.
I knew it was the new one at least.
1 for 1 already. Let's go. I have no idea.
Is that tilted? No.
No clue. I'm actually speechless.
I know where it is. I just forgot the name.
Tilted?
I'm gonna guess Sleepy, because they have a bunch of those little buildings there. I don't know. I'm gonna guess Sleepy.
Oh my god, how did I not know that?
I told you I'd suck at this.
There's no way I already got one wrong.
Books and nipples?
Like the ice cream shop at Tony. It has to be Tony.
Tony?
This is Coney, Crossroads, whatever, 100%.
Hey, let's go. Cody, let's go.
You have to take the gas station out of the picture. It's too obvious.
Yeah, I think it's like the only spot on the map that has like that neon pink.
This is the one with the vault. I forget this one.
I don't know any other spot with that type of like graffiti and stuff. So I'm just gonna go with Rave Cave.
This has to be Rave Cave. Rave Cave, final answer.
Rave Cave. Yeah, that one.
I knew it. There's a baller.
If I didn't get that one right, I don't know. That was too easy.
This is just the ground.
There's like a little trap grapple or something.
This to be Synapse, where I land. This to be Rocky.
Logjam.
I'm just gonna go with Rocky.
Oh, it's Rocky. It's Rocky Reels. I almost fumbled it.
I was close. Opposite side of the map.
Yes. Thank God. It was a 50-50.
I know all these POIs. It's just I just can't remember the names half the time. So I'm definitely placing last place.
There's no way I'm coming out on top.
People could have got 5 out of 5 if they might have Bugle, but yeah, I think I did pretty good.
I definitely think it's really important to choose your binds like correctly.
If you really want to be like a fast mechanical player, you definitely want to have good binds.
But now that people are like really good at building, optimal binds are probably one of the most important things right now.
I have my shooting bind on left click, and to pull out my pickaxe, I just have it on the regular one. I just click number 1.
So pretty much my binds for my items and stuff are all just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But my last inventory slot is on my mouse button because my fingers weren't long enough to reach the last key. So I thought it'd be smart to do that, but now I kind of regret it.
Okay, my binds, I have 4 of my binds, 3 of them on my thumb, using only my thumb. C, V, and X. I have my wall on C, my floor on X, and my stair on V. And I click all 3 with my thumb, but I also have to click space with my thumb.
I have my stair on my C keybind and my 4 on my X, and people usually press that with their thumb. I press that with my pointer finger.
Yeah, so my building binds are kind of like irregular. I have my cone on Q, which is pretty good, and then wall on C, floor on X, and stair on C. So I click Z, X, C all with my thumb. It's really inconvenient, but I started off like the first ever season with these binds because at the time, I'm sure everyone knows Myth. He was like the best builder ever. Like he was crazy, and he used CXC, and I was just like, dude, if I want to be like him, I just gotta copy his binds.
I would say it's completely personal. because I don't know any pros that has the same exact binds, and I don't know. The only thing I would say that would help a new player is just literally is not putting all your binds on one thing. Like, that's it.
So I definitely think you guys should pick out what's most comfortable for you guys in terms of keybinds.
I think the best way to do your keybinds is to make sure you have 360 move. Like, you don't ever want to take your hands off WSD when you're building. So as many mouse button keybinds as you make, or just like buttons you press with your thumb or your pinky, just anything without taking your hands off WSD. That's the most optimal way to set keybinds. So
See what your fingers are like most comfortable with and stick with that.
15 of the best NAE's teams have already found their way to the finals, and over the next 3 days, 35 more will be joining them. It's time, everyone, for the FNCS Chapter 3 Season 3 semifinals.
Welcome to the NA East FNCS semifinals. Knifey and D-Roller gave us a strong performance in Qualifier 3, picking up momentum throughout the day and even securing a VR in Game 1. But it wasn't enough for the direct qual for finals. Today, they'll need to play aggressive and go for those elims to be in with a chance of winning. Spade and Chimpnada are the consistency kings of this region. They've reached round 4 of every qualifier so far, but never quite made it into the top 5. Can their consistent game plan carry them to finals? Plurily and Bobby showed us their prowess in fighting off spawn and proved that they are not a duo to be messed with. They'll be bringing that aggression today as they vie for a spot in finals. The NA East FNCS semifinals starts now.
Welcome back, all of you wonderful Fortnite fans. I am your host, Hella Kelly Link, and we have 5 incredible games for you in store. But before we can get into all of that action, we're going to be breaking down what we saw during the qualifiers and what we can expect to see today. So with that being said, let me bring on my 2 incredible analysts. We got Vivid and Jacob PR.
Hey, how's it going?
Wait, hold up.
Ooh. Paper beats rock.
Never fails.
And I think that might be a little bit of an indication of what we can expect today, Vivid.
Yeah, Paper, we're going to be seeing him today alongside a bunch of other duos looking for their chance to get into those finals, Jacob. Can't wait to see how it all happens.
Yeah, and honestly, we might have to run it back. We have to run it back. There's 3 days of semifinals. We might have to run it back tomorrow. He might have Fortnite, but it's on.
Oh, all right, it's definitely on, everyone. And just in case you're joining us for the first time, let's quickly break down the schedule. And guys, we've already wrapped up qualifiers 1, 2, and 3, so don't even worry about that. Right now, it's about the semifinals. 3 days. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And of course, all of that leads to the finals that you can expect in the middle of August. But you know what? I think we should be bringing on we should be bringing on some more people onto the stage. It's the semifinals. We're going to have a special intro, guys. So here we have our in-game team, Mini Miner, Monster D-Face, and Shio Wager.
Kinda East time, you know, vibes.
Wow.
Mini,
Wow.
you just came off of EU, and it was mind-blowing. What was your favorite part?
So many moments that I could choose from to pick as my favorite part, but for me, game number 4, Victor Alpha, Janice, and Vidil. Not only did they win the game to get them their way to the finals, they also had a really, really solid day in consistency. I believe they were first place going into that game as well. So not only did they do it on consistency, also with a victory. What a game for them.
And obviously, with the new Storm Surge changes, you guys can expect a ton of action right now. But before we can even get into all of that, we're going to be recapping what we we saw from the first, second, and third qualifier. So let's head on over to Mini Miner for qualifier 1.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Now, the qualifiers were incredible. We got to break them all down. Let's start off with qualifier number 1. Here are top 5 teams that did make their way all the way through to the finals already. Monster, talk me through.
I'm jumping into it. Agers, Kanata, the biggest performance that we expected them to pull through. And again, the hypest team coming into this, I mean, they were on the back-to-back Cash Cup win, so we knew they were going to punch in.
No, they were definitely good. My eyes is stuck on 2 different places, first and third. Quanti and Polarized. I would have never expected them at the top of the leaderboard, but Booga and Miro keep that train rolling through every single version of Fortnite. Booga has proved he's one of the best.
Of course, we can't forget about Death and Tabney as well. They had a 10 elimination victory royale, winning them the last game to qualify them right there at the end. And of course, if they didn't do that, they wouldn't have made it through. They qualified through the tiebreaker, which was crazy. But speaking of some statistics, let's talk more about the stats from this qualifier. We can see Agers and Kanata, of course. What a dominant performance.
And that's the name of the game today. Agers, Kanata picking up the wins. I mean, everyone needs to take notes because this is what is going to be your fastest track out of today's semis.
I mean, you like Victor Royales. I like the most damage dealt. A huge change to Storm Surge, and that's going to be a real teaser of what we are going to be seeing from some of these teams. More proactivity in some of these lobbies.
Yeah, you can see that as well with the most eliminations. Tabney with 18 to his name in that qualifier. Unbelievable scenes. Qualifier number 1 was crazy, of course. Qualifier 2, I want to learn more. Kelly, over to you.
That's what we're here for. We're going to be breaking down qualifier 2 for you guys. And the first name that I'm going to be looking at up on top, Commandment and Avery. They got 3 second-place finishes in that qualifier, Vivid.
Yeah, on the back foot of those 3 second places, they also squeezed in a 3rd place. So very, very consistently getting to the top of these lobbies. But somebody else that was 2 Victor Royales out of Narwhal and Cam. That's impressive.
Yeah, you got Jamper and Yams on the opposite ends all the way on high ground for that too. Amazing to watch. Just once again for Commandment Avery, really nice to see the seasons of slumber, the chapters of just sleep gone now. And they're motivated, ready to play.
Yeah, once regarded as one of the best players on the region is Commandment. But listen, after watching this qualifier, it might be edgy now. That clutch Game 6 solo during the moving zones, it just impressed us beyond belief, and he really deserves a finals appearance after that.
Yeah, hopefully Acorn's live with him this time. The Rocket in is going to be looking really good, but so many other teams there too, Kel.
Oh yeah, lots of big names, but let's actually bring up some numbers onto the screen right now, and these are going to be summary stats that we got to see during qualifier 2. And obviously we already talked about it. Cam and Narwhal in 2nd place right there. But I'm looking at most damage dealt, 3,800 damage from Iamzo.
Listen, I'm looking at this as like, what happened during this qualifier? This seems so passive. We just saw qualifier 1. Most damage dealt over there was like 5,500. Here, we're only seeing 3,800, so almost a 2,000 difference. And then also most eliminations, like 4 less shy. Like, what happened during this qualifier?
Yeah, some of these water zones, some of the difficulties for this entire qualifier, it was there in qual 2. But just notice Iamzo, most damage dealt with the most builds placed too. So you know it's high in the sky. You know it's popping off 24/7. And everyone else can just dodge him for now because it's the rest of NAE East that's trying to qualify in the semis.
Oh, that's right. And if they then go through qualifier 2, they made an attempt in qualifier 3. So Mini, take it away.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Of course, we did have qualifier number 3. And once again, here are top 5 teams that did make their way through. Guys, what a huge list of names here. Some huge names.
The FNCS champions from last season are there. Peterbot, Byla. The struggle, though, to get out of this week. I'm more surprised that they had to wait until qualifier number 3, right? We're talking about a team that had the most dominant performance, taking advantage of the map changes.
Yeah, through all the FNCS, they had a little bit of speed bump qualifiers 1 and 2, but a team that had some speed bumps but overcame Clicks and Duke. They played out of their minds in qualifier number 3, leading the pack at the very beginning and holding on to that qualification spot at the end. If they play like that, Monster, Mini Miner, they are going to be your champions.
Yeah, they really will. And of course, Aviv and Donnie, can't forget those guys landing at the south of Daily Bugle. They're one of the most consistent teams in this qualifier, whilst contested as well. So huge credit to those guys, of course, as well. But let's move on to some statistics. As you guys already know, the session summary. Let's take a look at this. One of the stats that I want to focus on, we don't get to talk about too much, is the least damage taken. Of course, less expenditure of heals, less expenditure of materials, Monster. How big of an impact do you think that has on the game?
It's going to have a huge impact because we're talking about a new type of Fortnite. We're in a new fold here, right? When you talk about the way the battles are going to start happening now with the recent Storm Surge changes, you have to play defensively. You have to be quick on your feet, quick on your heels, and ready to accept the damage that's going to come in. So players like Revised are doing well right now.
Yeah, and having that strategy, the awareness to know when to bob weave in and out of those covers to not take damage, but position yourself to do damage is going to be important.
Love the breakdowns. Thank you guys for that, of course. But we got a show to get on with, so Kelly, take it away.
Thank you so much, Minnie. And there you go, everyone. To predict the future, you got to look to the past. So hopefully you guys learned something with our recaps of qualifiers 1, 2, and 3 there. But let's move on to the future, guys. Let's break down the format of today's competition with Vivid and Jacob.
I mean, Kelly kind of already hinted at earlier. Qualifier 1, 2, and 3, they're done. Our 15 teams sitting pretty, getting to watch the action unfold today in semifinals.
Yeah, what's not done, what's not finalized is everybody in the finals. We got to figure out 35 more teams. We're going to do that through the semifinals today. 5 games, every single one. Victory Royales, they're going through to the finals, but then also at the end of these games, top 6 will also be going through. So pay attention for these consistent teams. Now, a little bit of change over the next 2 days as well. We have those 2 sessions, 1 more game added there, 6 each. But in order to get into this consistency format, you gotta get some points, Jacob.
Yeah, and we're gonna shake things up just a little bit. He said Victory Royales get you to auto qualification. That is not a typo. That's a big whopper of points. 1,000 points to make sure you guys squeak through. Everything else, business as usual. You want to make it into that top 25, though. That's when the points begin to start ramping up.
Yes, and then also those eliminations, they are a factor, 2 points each. But why is everybody wanting to get into these finals so badly? I think Kelly's gonna let us know why.
I mean, listen, you got the bragging rights, you got the Acts of Champions, but we all know what this is about. It's about the money, $690,000 for the NAE's prize pool, but we're looking at that big number right there. First place, $160,000. That is $80,000 per player. That is life-changing money. But even going all the way down to 50th, you're going to be making some cash, everyone. And of course, we're going to be pitting these players against each other. But what if we pitted the POIs against each other? Here we have it, everyone. Ultimate POI.
What's up, guys? As you guys can see here, we are joined by Mega, Pamstu, and Nplan, and we're going to be playing Ultimate POI today. We're going to have 2 POIs go straight up against each other, and these pro players are going to give you guys the inside scoop on why they think one POI is better than the other. Now, first, our matchup is going to be Command Cavern versus the Grotto.
I will go with the Command Cavern.
I think this Command Cavern.
Command Cavern.
It's way better with the loot and the space that there is there.
You can fight like 3 teams there and you'll still be stacked.
Command Cavern now definitely has way more loot.
There we go. Command Cavern taking a clean sweep against the Grotto, 3-0. We have a new matchup for you guys. Slurpy Swamp versus Lazy Lake. What are we feeling here?
Definitely Slurpy Swamp.
I gotta say Lazy Lake.
I'll go with Lazy Lake as well.
You just get all extra shield. Like you just pop all the barrels, you keep whatever shield's extra.
It was center map, more chests. Slurpy didn't really have that much loot, I felt like.
I think it's way better with the positioning.
I might switch over to Lazy, you know?
A 3-0 sweep for Lazy Lake. We do have another matchup here. Tilted Towers versus the Agency.
I'd go with the Agency.
I'll go with Agency as well.
The Agency wins.
With the Mythic Drum Gun, I think it'd give it all.
The drum gun was a crazy, Midas drum gun.
And there was a lot of rivers that led to it, so a lot of people would use that to rotate.
And there you guys heard of the Agency going to be winning this matchup. We do have one more matchup here in these qualifiers. It's going to be Sweaty Sands versus none other than Chonkers Speedway.
Chonkers.
I'm definitely going with Chonkers Speedway.
So I think I'll go with Chonkers.
Chonkers has like guaranteed 24 chug splashes pretty much every game.
Just because of the whiplashes.
The car as well. I feel like Sweaty didn't have those type of things.
There we have it. I think we already have a decision made. Chonkers Speedway. But now we can move on to the semifinals. All right, guys, for semifinal number 1, we're going to have Command Cavern versus the Agency.
I think the Agency.
I think I would go with Command Cavern.
I would go Command Cavern as well.
Just because of how much easier it is to fight out. The Command Cavern is too spread out.
I think the loot there just give it all.
Even though it doesn't have a Mythic Gun in competitive, it has loot for like 5 teams at least.
I hate to say it, but I might switch over my vote too.
There you guys have it. Command Cavern wins over the Agency. Now, let's go through our second match of the semifinals. We have Lazy Lake versus Chonkers Speedway.
I definitely think Chonkers takes this one personally.
I think Chonkers would take it all.
I'm going with Chonkers as well.
I just think Chonkers having that many chug splashes and the god cars as well just has to put it over Lazy.
The chug splashes win it because it's just so good in the final lobby.
I think just because of the cars, the god cars put on the tires, the chug splashes.
Chonkers Speedway 3-0 over Lazy Lake. Is that right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
We are on to the finals. We have Command Cavern versus Chonkers.
I think Command Cavern.
I think Command Cavern will win.
I definitely got to go with Command Cavern.
Just because of the amount of loot and the surge. Yeah. It just definitely dominates. It's just too much.
There was even chug splashes there you can get.
It definitely does have like the best of every POI.
And there you guys have it. Our pros have chosen Command Cavern as the ultimate POI.
As always, a big thank you to all of our pros for enjoying and being a part of these segments that we have. And also a big shout out to Command Cavern for winning Ultimate POI. But although the POIs might have been changing, we're going to be seeing some familiar faces, right, Vivid?
Yes, we are. Let's take a look at some of our teams that will be joining us here today. Who was the most consistent? Who got the most series points? It's going to be all of these wonderful teams. And one of them that I want to talk about, it's Kaz and Hoofishy. The consistency, Jacob, it's been phenomenal. They actually made it to round 4 of every single qualifier, and that's going to be based out of that drill hill. It's going to be right to the west of Loot Lake. And it's been so good to them because they are so efficient out of this split job. They get out of there really, really early, around that 4.5-minute mark, which leaves them about 10 minutes to find that early storm surge damage. Now, what was most impressive about their round 4 appearance is that in every single game, they were alive for at least 15 minutes, but it didn't stop there. They just got better and better. In qualifier 3, they were alive for actually 23 minutes each game, so making it to every single end game, and that consistency factor is what I'm going to be looking forward to here today.
And now you said that drill hill, that spot they're landing at, is not even a POI, but because of the fact that those slipstreams are right next to it, that's going to allow them to rotate out quickly. You know, there's mountains as well, so the surge tags that you're talking about are definitely possible. But let's go ahead and switch gears just a little bit. 50 teams here today. We got to go ahead and mix it up, and I'm going to go with Clarity and Slacks. No, I didn't pick them because they land just north of your team that you just talked about, but it's because of what they're able to do out of Logjam Lotus. One of the only POIs, one of 2, that is constantly changing. You get 1 of 3 variations, so it's hard to find that constant, but they have found it because over towards the north spot, there's grapple gloves. There's another team that might land a little bit more north above them, and if they can test it, they're not afraid to fight it out off spawn right away. And if that fight does take too long, they're so adaptable, they're so flexible, they'll just figure out a way to get their loot without even touching Logjam Lotus.
And they really want those grapple gloves, Jacob, but I hope it's not sort of like a trap for them, you know what I mean? Like, do they really need them? Have they kind of played without them yet? I feel like if they have, this is a team that has won FNCS before, or at least Slacks has, without grapple gloves, you know what I mean? So he doesn't necessarily need them. I hope this duo has everything figured out today.
Yeah, honestly, I hope they do as well because, you know, they're one of the teams I was just studying on. I don't want my studying to go to waste, but there's another great team that we are going to talk about. Muzz, Playify. You've picked them once before during our qualifiers. Lay it on me.
Yeah, I mean, they're just good, right? And particularly, I want to talk about them because, again, another team that has made every single round 4 throughout our qualifiers. And qualifier 3 was particularly impressive because they got 6th place with a Victory Royale, which, if we're paying attention to the format that we'll be seeing here today, that is a doubleheader, getting in the top 6 and a Victory Royale. So both of those requirements will get you in the finals today. So if they can replicate that performance, we will be seeing them go through. But a little bit of a switch up from these guys. They saw most of their success from that island split on the east side of the map, and they don't want to contest that today, though. They want that uncontested grapple glove spawn over at the settlement split, which I feel like they're a little bit less experienced out of this split. So I hope that they did some research. I hope they went in, kind of got some scrims in maybe, and they learned this split to the T.
Yeah, honestly, one of the things that pops in my head is, you mentioned it, the grapple gloves. Because the storm surge changes, they probably want to get those gloves and get into position to get the tags that they need to survive what could be a very chaotic game if EU had anything to say about it. But let's move on over to the last team. It's going to be Cease and Day. I've talked about them before because honestly, they have so much potential coming out of Rave Cave, especially now knowing that Yamso Jamper, Commandment Avery, a lot of the top teams are no longer going to be there, and it allows them to kind of do exactly what they want. And that means if they find a team that's contested towards that vault side, they're going to push for it. But more times than not, they're just going to farm up, they're going to loot up and try to play that long game.
You know, and one of the interesting things about the changes to a little bit of the meta is a lot of teams are finding themselves, you know, more aggressive throughout the mid game. And this is a team that was kind of already aggressive. So I'm going to be curious to see if they're going to be like more aggressive, the same amount of aggressive, or maybe they kind of just lay back and, you know, leave less room for some of the mistakes that they make because they want to be so aggressive and let a team push them and just completely stomp them out in that right.
Yeah, and I like the way you're kind of bringing that up about the aggressive, the chaotic fights that they do excel at. But in the off chance that they do get split up, I feel like that is going to be one of their worst weaknesses that I know Cease has been working on. World Cup, IGL, and that's going to be a huge change because I talked about it. Games 2 through 5 is when they find that kind of road bump, that speed bump that is hard to traverse through. If they average the same amount of points through games 1 and 6 that they did in the middle, they would definitely have qualified at this point. So
that's why
it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, and that's why you respect Cease so much. He knows how good Day is, and he loves to get him into positions where he himself can succeed. Cease may know that, like, oh, I'm going to go down here, but Day will be alive in good health, good condition to clutch up for us. And that's why we love some of these teams, because they are willing to make sacrifices so that way as a whole they can succeed. But speaking about succeeding, Kelly, what are some of these players' most wanted things so that they can succeed?
Although these teams may not have made it through in the qualifiers, that story might have been different if they had the perfect loadout. So let's see what the pros think about a legendary loadout.
So in my legendary loadout, in slot 1, I'd probably have the legendary assault rifle. It was just such a good and balanced gun for Surge. Took skill to get Surge tags and you could get beams with it, and it was just an overall solid gun.
I would have the Mythic Drum Gun. The Mythic Drum Gun was powerful from close range and far, one of the most dominant weapons ever in Fortnite. I think it's a great way to start out my loadout.
Striker burst assault rifle. I think it's one of the best assault rifles that's been in the game so far, and it makes for an easy weapon to get quick eliminations from far distance. Super fun to use. I love the scope, and I think it's great for the game.
In slot 2, I would have the legendary pump shotgun because of its ability to one-pump enemies and dominate endgames.
The feeling of getting a 200 pump elim is just so satisfying.
Probably the best shotgun that's been in the game. Super versatile. Brings back memories from old Fortnite. Third slot, I would have shockwave grenades as my mobility. I think shockwave grenades are super fun. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them.
It just makes the game so hectic and fun.
It provides great mobility and allows you to make plays for both high ground and low ground. In slot 4, I would hold chug splashes because they provide great healing and allow you to continue rotating without stopping.
They can help heal your teammates really fast. You can carry a lot of them. I think they're good for team modes especially.
Small shield potions, it's just the standard shield and you kind of just need it for every game you play.
In slot 5, I would have a small shield potion because they're the classic.
They've been in the game forever. You know, it's a quick way to get 25 shield back. They're a staple of the game, and I think you gotta have them in your loadout.
Chili chug splashes because they just act as normal chug splashes, and you also get the pepper effect, so it's really good for rotating and having good mobility.
Once again, big thank you to our pros for participating in that. We just so much appreciate the knowledge that you can share with us and, of course, all of the viewers as well. And Vivid, I have to ask you, in the current meta, what's the strongest weapon in the game?
In my opinion, it's got to be the Stinger SMG, and it's not necessarily because of its potential to find eliminations. It's actually to apply pressure. It's so good at shredding materials on teams that you are fighting, and especially in the end game, it can kind of close those gaps almost instantly. You can kind of find unsuspecting players, catch them off guard, so that way you can finish them very, very quickly with your shotguns.
I think we can all agree with that, right?
Yeah,
definitely.
like that.
Okay, so obviously this is semifinals. It's a bit of a different format than we've seen from the qualifiers. So, Monster, what can we expect as far as changes?
I mean, in general, the pacing, right? But also the win conditions. We're playing for something totally different. The first weeks we're talking about stay consistent, make it all the way through, finish in the top 5. That was your requirement. This time around, play for height, win the game, get out of here early, but you only have 5 chances today. But also think about it, you have more chances than most other teams. You get the first opportunity today.
That's right, yes. We're going to have 11 new teams joining us tomorrow, and then after that, 12 newer teams joining us for the final day of semifinals. But everyone, it's time for your favorite part of the show. We're going to be going over our predictions. These are the teams that we think are going to make their way to the finals in August. And you know what, Mini Miner? Let's start with you and go around this way.
Sounds good to me. Muzz and Playify is my pick. Now, I want to ask you guys a question, okay?
Ooh.
Have you looked at your player or your team's sort of victory rounds?
Oh, okay.
Right. I just want to pick up on it, right?
Right now.
How many wins did your teams get in the qualifier round 4s? Naught. I'll answer it for you. It's a rhetorical question. My team, Muslim Player 5, they were the only team out of all of these predictions that managed a victory royale. And of course, today, that will qualify them. I was speaking to Muzz a little bit before as well on social media, and he was saying that he will try and go for those grapple gloves every single game. So I have no doubt that they'll qualify today. Maybe not through consistency, but they will win a game. I'm calling it game 4.
I like that pick too, but also they have the experience. They've been here in the FNCS, setting this stage in particular, so that's definitely going to be a strong one. For me, it's Spade and Chimp. They have the consistency. They've been pulling it off this time around, which is really interesting because they've been there, but not quite there. This time around, of course, the greats have moved on. This is the next set of the greats, but I'm thinking they're going to stay consistent. They should be able to do it.
Zoop. What's that? It's a little fly on the wall in the streets of NA East. And what's the fly saying? Oh, Shayo, it's going to be Ritual and TK popping off because it's a fighting tight meta. I agree with the fly. I agree with the sky. Everything I'm looking at is just saying it's this team.
Listen, Minnie, you want to bring out the statistics? Let me talk about the duo cash cup that has this new Storm Surge, right? Paper and Law Stash were the best placing team out of all of these predictions. They got 6th place there, and honestly, most of the teams above them were teams that were already in the finals. So I think that Paper and Law Stash have this new Storm Surge and meta figured out.
Yeah, I kind of hinted at it just a little bit. The team that I'm going to go with is a team that has flexibility, that adapts to the ever-changing game that Fortnite is. Slacks, Clarity, Logjam, Lotus. They're going to get those grapple gloves no matter what it takes, and even if that means not even looting their POI.
Sure.
I mean, these are all some great teams. I'm actually going to be agreeing with Vivid there. And we saw at the start that Paper beaks rock. So that is just an indication of what we can expect today. And they might have gone in 6th place in the recent Cash Cup, but they also got 6th place in one of the qualifiers. So that right there is a win condition, everyone. But let's be honest, any of these teams have the ability, have the opportunity to make their way to the finals. So let's get this started with game number 1. Let's take it off. Shy Wager at MDF.
Game 1.
Predictions were hot. We had a lot going on there. Everyone really laying it down, talking about their teams today.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's time to get the brass tacks. It's time for the semifinals of NA East, and I could not be more excited, Monster. It's about to go down.
I mean, you should be excited because what we're going to watch, explosion unfold across the field. Of course, we have to think about it. 5 games, 5 Victory Royale winners. I'm ready to call those moments.
It's going to be amazing. I can't even wait. The qualifiers so far, some of these teams are experienced with them. Some are coming in new, hot off of it, but 5 games.
It's time to get into it. There's 11 teams.
And then it's going to be a top 6 as well. The Victory Royale might be a part of the question. Who knows for some of these teams? It could be there in those final spots, in those last zones. With the way Surge has changed, Monster, it's a whole new game.
It is a whole new game. It's a different pace on the world, and we're going to watch this play out here today.
Absolutely. So let's see what actually looks hot. For now, when we compare the semis to the calls, when we compare this new meta to the old, off spawn is kind of same old, you're forced to fight.
Yeah, but definitely is, you're not only forced to fight, you're forced to move. You have to get from point A to point B. There's no time to, lack around the area. You need to get into these engagements, stay ahead of the curve.
We'll check in with Larson here in just a second with Smite. Shifty Shafts, usually there's a beef from south all the way to north, but that's not gonna happen for now. The people over at the Shafts are chilling. There has to be a fight on the map somewhere. We can see it with Accepted Snake. Okay, through the scope goes down Redux. What a close, high-definition way to get your first elimination.
And this is personal. This is a fight that happened last season around the same time. They took it all the way through every single FNCS qualifier. It went all the way to the semis as well. In the end, Accept and company made it all the way through, and that was how Voyal ended up ultimately also having some space to work with here. So this is a lot of, I like to say, tension in the air between these teams.
We could talk more history as well. Synapse Station, one of the wins from last season's semifinals in NA East as well as the EU. So it's one of the hot spots to be in overall inside this type of rounds.
Let's get into it right now. Illest and Duos looking pretty solid here, trying to get their loadout together. Sleepy Sound a contested drop looking north of Sleepy. It's very rare that you see teams within the peripheral of these squads here. So for them, there's a lot of potential action going on here.
As CQ, we've seen him just pop off when he gets a few damage tags down, so we'll have to wait for him to get the first damage around. Vert and Blake, though, things can end up fizzling out very fast if they make even a single mistake as a duo.
Vert and Blake have success here, though. They've won this drop multiple week after week before, but I feel like we had a moment where Blake and Vert just missed a weekend qualifier, and that was the difference for us. It's like, oh, where were they? Why didn't they, get past those early stages? With Fortnite picking up the pace now, this could be pretty scary for this.
It's a duo that requires space, power, and control, a lot of which is even harder to get in this type of format when Surge is so important to deal with, when damage is needed to be got. Batch and Pamsto, quick movers off their spawn, but this time it's really different. There's too many teams already on the fly.
Trading here, shot for shot right now, important tags. We kept hovering around this topic of the fights and the action that'll go down.
No
Look
way!
at that nice little strategy there. Throws the tire inside the bush. It's looking good. That's going to expose him. He gets a couple tags. Pamster with the swing around finds a few. This should be all she wrote here. Give it a second. Batch is looking for it. Here it is. No time to miss now, buddy. Got to hit this shot. Looks for it, and Pamster will be able to close it out.
Not enough in terms of pressure from other teams close by around. That's just a genius strategy there from Pamsto. Throw that tire down, Fatch ready for kind of the alley-oop to bring it down. That is just so sick from that team. Usually that Trap Monster, it never actually works.
Hey, you got to play with one another. Every now and again, you'll see the surprise factor come in. And, you know, what a way to find a team just isolated like that, too. Right? Really think about it. It's a great pickup.
Yeah, 2 ways to qualify for the finals today, 2 ways to play the semis as well. Right now, getting first place, the Victory Royale in any of these games will net you a ticket, whether it's the first game or the 5th one we're watching. At the same time, if you stay consistent, even if you get a bunch of seconds, that's fine too. The top 6 will be making it to finals, so we can see the differences in a few teams and how they're already setting up their game, play it out.
It's definitely going to be very interesting. There's so much to play for. Clarity G's loadout is looking amazing, but let's get on over to the action here. Sneak and Polo are in a little skirmish here. It's a 2-on-2, but in the distance, there are more eyes looking in. I'm counting 4 just on this north side. It's NAE and company there, but all over to the west, there's also teams on top of them too, so a lot of different components happening right now.
Johnny and Goo electing for possibly just a little bit more consistency overall, get as many eliminations as you can, take a few more risks, and end up your points game to game. I know we just tuned off from Slacks and Clarity, but they are just straight up playing for that win. At the same time, can be a lot more consistent if they focus on end game. Right now, though, it is all about that damage. Sneaky and Polo have to try to get it. Polo putting his body on the line, but not finding much for now.
No trades happening on either side, so it's looking good here. Polo looking to lead the charge, be the aggressor on the wall. Ends up getting it, and the shots come through. Sneaky with the best angle. It's textbook. It's right camera peaks.
He just held that shot for so long. Usually there's a re-edit, there's something, but my man just let it rip.
Looking like season 1 up in here. That was nice and simple for them. They pick up some points. What a way to start off your competition today.
342 total final appearances overall in the semis. It's a little bit more stacked in terms of experience, in terms of people wanting to be at the top, the hunger. Compared to EU, one of the biggest regions also available that we just saw play out. And if that's the case, Monster, if these lobbies are statistically harder, so to speak, that means this game 1 might be better than EU's game 1, and that's too much to fathom.
We know NAE's lineage runs deep. These are the players that have been showing up since the beginning of time, arguably the space that started competitive as a region collectively. But let's take a look here. DGen is going to find a couple shots here like we're starting to set up right now. Pledges a bit distance, but the team that's up top has all the advantage here. And this is a great strategy here.
Yeah, DGen and Pledge for now, they're just kind of counting on the fact that they can get a lot of beams, not only box to box, but also somewhat towards closer mid-game. Translate that to maybe picking up a shotgun at some point as the game dwindles down. All they're looking for is just to deny types of pressure from other people. When you have a shotgun-less loadout, you do not have as much firepower to finish a lot of the fights, but you can start so many more.
I love this position right now by users, by the way. Hidden in the bush. No one knows he's here. And we're talking about a team that has struggled all the qualifier weeks, really having a tough time. But let's get into the fight here. Jackson looking for a Dauda. He's got his back. You have the high ground, another team that's in control of the situation for now. Finding tags, farming the players in the distance. D-Roller and Knifey seem like they did not find success.
This is not good for D-Roller and Knifey on screen right now. They have such a bad vantage point. Every single tag, all the damage, all the pressure, it's being taken and soaked up by this team above them. Dada looking so good. D-Roller, Knifey, as a result, look at it. They're not looking anywhere on the map for any tags. They're focused on chopping this top team above them down.
And it looks like it cost them a bit too. Matt's starting to run low for D-Roller. Focus now from the distance. Shots come into the wall. They have to reevaluate the positioning here.
They're just running out of time. They're doing nothing of value right now. As soon as Surge starts to kick in, we will see truly how down bad this team really is they don't have any other options either. They might just want to move right now. This vantage point, once again, you can't see much from here. There is no one on Knifey's screen. He's basically playing blind.
I mean, you tell me, how much time do they have?
I mean, it's the second zone. It's going to be closing through them. We'll see that surge appear. I believe 64 players is that new entire threshold we're going to be looking forward to. That's almost 22 people that have to go down. Revi's going to be one of them. Mason and Penn. I'm surprised they're still here. I'm surprised they haven't qualified for the finals, because look at this. Maximum defense. I think this is one of the best teams to play against, or to be on the server when it's all about locking down your box.
Yeah, definitely. Take a look at that one more time. Mason's really going to open up with a big shot right there, and that's going to be the setup for success here. No wonder they pushed inside the build. They ran that fearlessly, and the wall take, there it is. You let your guard down, you get popped, and he gets put down. That's how Revi's, the player that took the least amount of damage in those other qualifiers, takes the most amount of damage here to kick off the tournament. But hey, we've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just doesn't get hit for the rest of it. Mason and Penn, though, if they continue on this path, a lot of loot as well, they might just be looking really good for that end game.
I agree. We got Muzz and Playify looking pretty solid right now. Seems like they're just coming off of a single elimination here. Pretty solid.
Yeah, I think Vinny had something in the pre-show actually talking about why he thinks this duo's so good. He's not done with that info yet, Minnie. What do you got for us?
Absolutely shy wager. Now, one of the things that I talked about at the top of the show was, or the beginning of the show, was that Muzz and Playify were going to go for those grapple gloves, and as you can see, they are successful in doing so. Both Muzz and Playify both have the grapple gloves, which is their win condition, so don't be surprised to see these guys in the top 5 at the very least.
Ooh, Minnie with the facts rolling in, but look at this. Slacks, Clarity G, they've got those gloves too. There's going to be many teams who roll deep, just like Muzz and Playify, who have that same win condition. And this time, Monster, is different. If you win a game, you go straight to finals.
Yeah, and I mean, grapple gloves won exactly 33% of those games, so it's all starting to come together here. You have good chances. 1 in 3 out of 5 games. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but it seems pretty up there, to say the least. That's about, on average, around 2 for the stage and the setting here. For Who and Kaz right now, they're trying to position up. There's a team right in front of them. Looks like a fight's going to break out here. Kaz, a little late to the party as he's not looking for the peak. He's waiting for it.
Issue with this team on screen right now is when pressure starts to happen, they stop playing as a duo. Similar theme for Day and Cease as well. A lot of the times, they're organized off of spawn. Day ends up doing his own thing. Cease trouble keeping up entirely. But now with the gloves in tow, now with the semis, as well as so much experience week to week, I feel like these guys can finally play as a team.
Almost looking like they're trying to bait the other squad out. Cease not actually healing here. They waiting for the chug splash play. There's a little potential mind game going on here.
A lot of the times when players don't heal in this spot and they have the heals available in their inventory, they're just banking on maybe getting an elimination. That can, for free, give you Siphon, get your skills up, you save the splashes, and we know how good those are for the end game.
That's right. For Ritual and TK, the pick, Shayo. Talk to me about this team. I mean, this is your pick for good reason. It's my pick for finals. I'm giving it to you this week.
All right, say we have players on the server, right? We have Titans, people with deep histories. We also have 2 hunters, and that's TK and Rituals. They look for fights. They look to be alive. They're only really playing the game when they're taking shots on the move. So TK Rituals, I feel like in this type of meta, when you need bullets hitting bodies, that's the duo that gets it done.
We'll see if they can play defensively here. Spade and Chimp looking to play offensively right now as they're starting to slide up. The loadout, the material count showing me they haven't done much other than build their way across the map here. And already the surge will be begun to get active. 376 above. Polo's on a wall. He doesn't need this fight, but he wants it. It's Larson who's up for grabs right now. Smythe there too. A team that built their reputation on popping off, fighting, and being a team that plays so aggressively. Now though, I mean, they're up on the plate here. Polo is also looking to have that reputation too.
Now right now, first fight in Larson, you're talking about popping off. They're being knifed down. No shields available for the moment to use. They're looking kind of down bad, and now you can sense the desperation. Everyone knowing their threshold. That thing on the right, by the way, it's not going to disappear for the entire game almost, Monster. So get ready for the threshold information to be active for everyone. They're all desperate for tags, rattling on builds. The only people who are calm and composed seem to be Slacks and Clarity, just moving by.
It's a new era of Fortnite. Look at how close the teams are starting to hover around one another. Box fights, tags, lobby focuses. You'll see a little bit of everything, every single zone now, because players have to continue to stay active. Larson and Smite's biggest problem right now is actually the fact that Clarity and Slacks have now positioned right in between themselves and this other team here. So this is another aggressive situation to be in right here.
Yeah, 3 above for Slacks and Clarity G. So I like the fact they box up next to teams that aren't really editing on other people. It's showing them that these guys are maybe not as confident. Maybe they have all the tags they need. They want to stay scared. Those are the best teams to fight. Day and Cease also going for that type of strat, but they take a big shot before the fight starts.
Big tag right there. Day's going to have to start healing up. Cease is on the front lines here, looking for the edit, looking for the wall take as well, and he's controlling those builds, making sure they're ready to be in a fighting stance. Elsa on the other side, they're feeling good right now. The advantage going to them as they find the first tags with Fuse there too. Whofish and Kaz in the distance, probably looking to jump in one of these battles as well. But here it is, 200 below the surge. It's all or nothing now. 1 second before it turns active. There's no running from this one. A great tag there, and look at the composure. For the first time, we see Day actually back off for a moment there. It's not enough damage. He needs a little more. Maybe he's second guessing if he should have finished it, but no, it works out. It all comes together. The side angle is great. Here it is, the 180, but no tag just yet.
This is just so nice. They using Cease kind of like a home base pretty much. Getting a few tags going back. Baiting his body to get that wraparound in his opponent for a huge tag as well. Off of that fight, the 10 seconds, 127 above.
This is how they need to play as well, right? Patching up the flaws in their gameplay, but a little too passive here, Shayo. I'm not seeing the refresh that they're really going to be banking on right now. Look at the loadout.
It's gone.
There's no heals.
Houdini type beat the wood as well as following suit. Just 4 inside Day's repertoire. That being said, not the only duo in trouble. Spade and Chimp, we talk about consistency, right? Week after week, they're inside these squads, are looking good. At the same time, they're going to be consistently hit by Surge over and over if they don't get this damage figured out.
Great tag right there. That might just be enough to buy them some time here, but for how much longer? Remember, it's not a 70-player threshold. It's much lower than that. You have to continue to fight this one out, and players need to get in that mindset that it's not over until it's literally over.
All the way down to 64. That's what Chimp is kind of waiting for, but at the same time, no one's really going down.
Here it is, though. Decision to make. Larson on the left. Nets, oh no, Ziggy on the side, another shot. This is not good. Tags start coming in. Chip is looking very, very desperate here. It's going to come down to all or nothing. That other team on the other side of the wall also under the surge here. So Chimp understands this. Look at this. Smite and Larson have actually fully armored their backside here. They're protected for now. And Smite and Larson actually find a set of eliminations, a refresher that has just been gifted up to them. What a situation to turn this around.
Yeah, 353 above. They have the bump as well. Smite though low on overall shields. Square finally going down. So another siphon over to Larson as well. This is all way past not even endgame. They're basically in kind of a vortex of their own in terms of trouble and damage, and it's not due to the zone, it's not due to time. Now Sneaky Polo, desperate for a few tags, are going back to Larson again, but he has all the builds he needs to kind of resist that pressure. Chip and Spade now want to jump in too. Seeking coming in from the backside on a smite. He lands a big shot. Larson also taking down the damage too. It's chaos here, not even in the zone, and every single person has no shields. They're in maximum trouble.
The whole table has been turned, and they're sitting on the other side trying to make the negotiations here, but that power is starting to run very thin.
There's also foreign countries here looking for a few trade offers. Ufishy and Kaz on the backside, rattling shots over to Larson and Smite. They were the one to take one of them down.
And this is the narrative that's going to change in Fortnite now. The new changes make it so that it's not just win the fight, it's how you win the fight and then win the game. Look at how much it has cost every single team here. Not a single team seemingly has heals to play with. Yeah, they'll probably get some mats, but how far will that take them when you cannot take any exchanges later in the game? For Polo, he's already lost his teammate.
Gone.
Surge is active. There goes the shots. It's all over. He's going to go down, and the threshold will be cleared for now, but not for long.
You have to not only face 5 teams, but then the others who are based up being so much more aware, knowing they need tags. It's Kaz and Hoofishy, some of the best eyes on the server. It's another elimination they either force or pick up. For Chimp and Spade, I do not know how they've survived this, but maybe that's why Chimp is online.
That's what they need right there. What do they get for heals? 1 mini and a med miss. It's something better than nothing. And I mean, we can coin it now. This is the refresh meta. I swear, you're going to need a whole lot when you find these eliminations. If you don't end them quick, you are going to pay for it.
This is exactly what Dubs and Rocane just might have needed to happen to the game in terms of a switch. This is a duo that ends up just being invisible every single qualifier. Sometimes it just, to me, feels like they're ahead of Surge, but they do nothing. To be able to have that now, to be able to get your damage, but also just not be interrupted, have just perfect timing and positioning, that might be the thing that sets them apart from everyone else.
Let's talk insight to finals for a quick second. I'm thinking teams will now have to truly prioritize triple heals.
Yeah.
Grapple gloves are great, movement is amazing, but it's no good just sitting there. You literally need more heals than usual. The game's changing before our eyes.
If you have a center type POI, it might be easier to get those grapple gloves, chill a little bit, right? You'll be able to take damage so much earlier. Maybe you don't need the shields, but that's like 3 teams with Lobby Monster. You are talking about the majority of NA East. They definitely need that option. 6 heals for the whole duo to be able to use. I think Threats has an idea of that. It might not have 3 heals entirely, but look at those splashes.
Looks like these weapons are coming into great use. The low, medium ammo telling me, hey, he's been hitting his shots. He's well above the surge. That's where you want to be. Armored Wall's going to come in for some good protection there. And all of a sudden now, Threats has to reevaluate the situation.
Yeah, Dijon in trouble right in front of him. And we know that he doesn't even have a shotgun. So when it comes to box fighting, look at how close range is him with him and Pledge and everyone else around him. He's not going to have to say shot for shot. He only has spray.
Snake and Xat, once again, below the surge. Can he find the tags? There's a down body next door. It's Walkers. The full finish on Shadow 2 comes through, and that's from Macwood who picks that up.
Right now, too, you look at the mini-map, it's been so incremental when it comes to people trying to move into the zone. No one has center position. Everyone maximizing their mats, their time, their damage. They're all on the edge like a big old donut.
Most people cannot afford it. That's the problem here. The real estate's a little too expensive in the center. You have to be scrappy on the outer edges and battle for it.
What does that mean? It gets so much scrappier when the zone pulls way across from you. Snake is not going to be able to think about that just yet, though. Except has to now make up the time for his duo going down on the line. He's trying to find anything in terms of the shot. 108 damage below. He's stuck inside the attic, and there's not too much space to breathe either. It's getting kind of musky inside this box for Accept. He has to move across the lands. He has to win 6 fights. He's whiffing shots as well. This is down bad territory, and he is gone.
That's the problem right there, but Macwood and Threats are eating very good. They get Walkers, they get Shadows. Now they get to wrap up that team there, too. That's going to jump them on up to 3 eliminations, looking great. Not only that, grapple, gloves, they can get to that very far pull. This is an exceptional position to be in. Threats and Macwood, if I had to guess, have my pick to win right now.
Okay, the only obstacle they have is this one edit, and then the move and the glide. You know, when you get shot with these grapplers, you end up not being able to swing. There it is. They're looking good. Your pick might be it, Monster.
Everyone's gone. The rotates look good. They use the line of sight to block there behind the trees. Teo is that eye in the sky here starting to shoot down. Macwood cranks his way on up, and it looks like high ground might just be his. They give it up for free. Remember, guys, this is a win condition situation here. You get that win, you do not have to play the rest of these 4 games that happen after this. There's only 5 opportunities right now. It's time to punch it in.
Mason and Penn going to be doing things the hard way, not really going for hype, but maybe consistently looking to either rattle the day off inside top 6 or maybe go for the final 2v2 and get that VR. That being said, they're taking lots of damage getting to the zone. Luckily, 4 eliminations to start things off. Mason looking so good, and their shields, their inventories, they match that pressure.
One of the best looking loadouts we've seen so far from the teams we jumped in with, as they have the extra heals, they have the material count, things are going in their way. Most of the other teams we've tuned in, so much more issues on the horizon, but here it is. For a brief moment, we get silence on the server. We haven't heard that all day today, and I know we're just kicking it off, but hey, man, that was 12 minutes of non-stop action, and even now the fights are starting to break out because the zone's going to move, but the surge is once again destroying the lobby.
Silver and Golden, I think one of the only teams that are being hit right now, needs to go down to 40 players. So they're second height for the moment, and they are in trouble. Must play a fight in a position to stick to the slow ground, but they're up against Penn Mason. They're up against so many teams who are trying to make things consistent. Be that last one down below, ready to go for that fight, for that win. Gold and Silver looking for that damage, finally find it. So it's another team now that's below. Still one more person needs to go down for Surge to stop in the 6th zone. This is something we've never really seen before on NA East. The pressure is active. They know it. Macwood and Threats, what type of sky bridge is this? This should not be allowed. No one's shooting it down. They still have control.
Everyone's too focused on fighting the guy next door because you have to. Golden Navy are doing just that as well. They're pushing out Pump up to the other side. They get called down. The call's been answered. Pump hits the shot. No, he's down. He's out. They get finished up quickly. And Macwood and Threats have done what they've done since the beginning of this game here. Control the lobby. Control the atmosphere. And they are the, honestly, they're the rule makers here. They seeing how this lobby's going to play out and how things are going to go.
It's usually the oldest people making the laws right now, and that is Macwood all the way on height, grappling to a different base to make sure he stays ahead of the race. That's the play of the game right now for them all the way up towards the sky. Spade, though, for him, a clutch. We've seen it already happen on a bunch of different regions and a bunch of different games, but he has no shields. He has no time. He's almost running out of everything he has in the inventory. Knifey and D-Roller They're trying to stay ahead of things, but they're below on search.
Definitely looking pretty tough for them right now. They're on the hunt here. They find Burt in front of them. Blake's there too. The shots come in, and it's a good read from the teams on the other side of the wall. D-Roller, though, holding on to Steen situation here. He's got some minis. He's got some time to work with. Kaz, however, is down. Fishy is left to play this one out by himself. He manages to break into that top 15 there. That's pretty solid. And mind you, Chip is doing that too, so way to clutch up here.
Some of the big boys still active. Mason and Penn looking good. I saw Law on the feet, so he's getting a few picks too. Zypha, one of the only people down below looking fine. Muzz, though, takes out one of the low ground teams that have to face at one moment. They're looking to just maintain pressure on this layer. Double armored walls coming in. They have time for that revive too. Muzz does not want to allow this whatsoever. He's going for the heist play, going for the body, and they find Mason.
They absolutely needed that. There's the siphon. The materials just come falling out there, and that's the gift that they were looking to battle for. For NPen, he leaves his teammate behind. He stays in the front of the zone. He makes the top 10. Paper and Law, a big pick. Now 4 elims. Can they find a little more? There's options all around them.
Hyper focused on the mats. They ignore the elimination entirely, trying to move all the way up towards this mountain. Low ground is now basically gone. It's about mid. It's about height. Paper was almost there, but can't find it. Now his teammates in trouble. It's all up to the big wood right now, looking for the next shot. He's going for it, but he gets slayed down. Paper is just too much to handle. Limits there too. He wraps around the threats, but he gets slapped in the face. It's all down to Law.
But Law's here to pick it up, and that's the finish right there. 4 elims. His teammate drops the material. He drops what he could. Down low, Nani, scrappy in the low ground here, finds his 5th elimination. The grapple gloves get him to safety, but for how much longer? He's only got a couple moments here. Cooper is by his side. Curly Baby, Fazo, 5 elims as well. Everyone is cooking up here. We have somewhat of a neck-and-neck situation right now, but there's a couple players left.
Look at everyone wounded, bleeding right now, and it's every single layer. Law has been chopped down. We tune in with NPen, face-to-face against anyone. Try not to be a disgrace down below. Fazo up top, though, with Curly Baby. They've made it through. Limits being bopped all the way down. It's close. Every single moment is box to box for every single person. Limits, though, finally gone down. Kicks takes out Law. It's now a 3-way, 4-way race.
2 builds is not enough for a minute and 30 seconds of zone to continue to rotate through. No one's got white heels for the win condition here. This is all going to come down to, honestly, a big, big fight.
As soon as we're past this house, 4 different layers will start to clash. Kicks has to do something. He should be the one with the operating factor. NPen's about to get jumped by 5 different people. Fazo looking for the defense. Kicks an influence this entire game. NPen now is moving up. He gets splintered apart. Taken almost down. Somehow he lived that. Okay, Kicks is right there. They see him.
You know, they can't let their guard down.
Jump through. Okay, the spray out coming in. Some of these solos have to work together now. Curly Baby down. Fazo picks it apart. He gets the trade. Another one back. Nani gone. Can anyone stop Fazo's the question? No siphon available. No time. He goes down. Was that Kicks with the win? It was too close to see.
Well timed. Nani looked like he was lurking in the low ground there, and the players come back and they go blow for blow. In the end, though, it's patience that plays off for the teammates here. I love the way we watched that fold out right there. Let's watch it, though. Run it back one more time. Take a look from the wide shot here. Nani goes down to the side. Cooper had his back. They come in, and they hit that quick 7.
That's Cooper just waiting, using every single person as bait. Nani, glorious for him to jump up first. At one point, Cooper's mantling without any mats to give up with Nani. On another, he's winning the game for the duo.
The best part about that, Nani, explosive guy, right? You know, he jumps up out of his seat. He's going to have a fun moment. I'm ready for the clip. That was cool to watch him win game 1.
Absolutely. Just really good for Cooper to know exactly what's breaking down. He has all the HP. He wants ruckus created. He was the loudest person in the server. That's Nani.
Definitely was. But you know what? We got more where that came from.
Thank you so much, MVF and Shio Wager, and what a great start to the semifinals. Big shout outs to Nani and Cooper for that first VR. They have now punched their ticket to the finals, which leaves another spot open for the rest of these teams.
Yeah, and we actually saw it from the low ground, which is kind of surprising, Jacob, because we saw some pretty solid teams up on the higher ground, and it was looking really good for Macwood and Threats there for a moment, because they looked like they had a lot of materials to finish it out. But Nani and Cooper were just raining terror upon the low ground, and they were just in such a good position. Everybody was fighting for that mid ground, that high ground, while they're just like, listen, guys, we're down here, we're tarping, you guys keep doing your thing, we'll stay healthy, and with a lot of materials, and it ended up working out really, really great because they find themselves in that 2v1 situation at the end.
Yeah, and our glorious cast was talking about Nani celebrating, getting loud. That is a celebration indeed, because let's take a wild trip back. Qualifier number 1, 1v2 versus Kanata. They weren't able to clutch up, and honestly, I think that did something to them mentally, and they fell down the leaderboard from there. This time around, finals.
Well, you already mentioned them, Vivid, but we have to look at Macwood and Threats there. there because for a moment it looked like it was going to be their game.
Yeah, listen, we have been asking all season so far, come on, NAE East, find us some high ground identity. Somebody go for it consistently, create some strategies, and we kept turning towards Macwood and Threads because Macwood is synonymous for wanting to play the high ground. And we see here, game 1 of semifinals, he knows the win condition. Unfortunately, you know, Lost Stats and Paper are like, no, listen, we don't want anything to do with that. And Macwood, unfortunately, just gets a huge low ground pump right to his head, and they end up getting cleaned up. But honestly, if they just keep playing like that, they can definitely come out on top of one of these games.
Oh, without a doubt, and that's why they're going to be currently sitting in our 6th place spot right now. But Fazo and Curly Baby currently with 41 points. A tie for 2nd place between Paper Buka and Lost Dash, Kicks and Sphinx. And then, of course, we have Mason and Inpin. Inpin doing a good job with the solo run there. And finally, we have Shore and Zypha in 5th place. Jacob, some pretty big names up on top.
Yeah, and honestly, Mason and Pen, to me, it's no strange thing they're towards the top as well. Because you got to remember, once again, during the qualifiers, even though they didn't actually win the game going up against Cam and Normal, they came in 2nd. And they were so close to qualifying to the finals through the qualifiers.
Yeah, I know we like to, you know, pry at second predictions, but I'm pretty sure Npen and Mason would have been mine if I had the opportunity. They are so aggressive, but it's like this calculated aggression that they know they can win these fights so consistent. I mean, look at this. Mason goes down and Npen's left to do, and they already have 5 eliminations coming into this end game. I feel like the new Storm Surge damage, they kind of like knew it was coming because throughout our qualifiers, they were already playing aggressive then. It's like, man, we know this new Storm Surge is coming. We know we got to learn how to play aggressive, and that's why we see them succeed with that playstyle so often.
And although we only talked about the top 6, even the teams from 7th to 10th place are some big names right there. Yeah. Blake and Vert, Kaz, Fishy, Teo and Pump, and D-Roller and Knifey.
I mean, you can see Kaz, Fishy, Vivid already talked about it. Every single qualifier, they were able to kind of edge themselves in there, and then they had progression through each and every qualifier, moving up that leaderboard. If history says itself, even if they don't qualify here today, eventually they're going to find themselves in the finals.
Yeah, and I was hoping that this team would do good because they were so good at Storm Surge. But speaking about Storm Surge, we do have this whole new system now that players have to deal with, sort of a meta change right before these semi-finals, and it's very, very interesting. It screams aggressiveness because, you know, initially we saw that at 3rd zone, it would want 70 players to only be alive, but now look at it, it's 64, and we've added these 4th and 6th zones as well, dropping all the way down 54, 44, 40. Very, very aggressive. However, it does kind of go back to that normal, right? That 7th zone is 30 is what we are used to seeing, but respectively, it's usually just a lot less players. And we see that not only in the player count, but the materials and the resources that every team has going into the end game. It's a lot less than what we're used to seeing.
I mean, the biggest change that I'm seeing right here is that 4th zone, 70 down to 54. And that's why we're seeing so many mid-game fights right there. And if you guys want to find out more information about the Storm Surge changes, make sure to check out @FN Competitive on Twitter and Instagram. But Jacob, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, honestly, even looking at the first change with Zone 3, 70 to 64, that alone is causing more action. It's causing more fights, and it's making players really force that decision, force their hand. Do I out-heal this zone or do I not? Because 6 additional players still need to go down in order for that Storm Surge to stop.
Yeah, and let's just look at this highlight right there. We just saw Dave, right? He had 70 builds left. Dealing with the first Storm Surge, you have to expend so many more materials because so many more teams are willing to shoot at you, take fights with you, that you just don't have enough towards the end game. And, you know, Clarity right there, Chimp right here, they don't even have any heals left. You know what I mean? Like, what is going on? These players are getting tagged up, and I love the fact that Monster talked about it at one point. Is the grapple glove even worth taking anymore? Like, is a 3rd slot heal really what these players are going to opt for?
I was noticing a lot more chug splashes on these teams, actually going for the double chug splashes in a lot of their loadouts instead of grabbing a grapple glove or maybe another weapon there. So I'm seeing that there is some changes going on. Jacob, what do you think is going to be the biggest change with this?
Honestly, I think exactly what you guys are hinting at. I think we're going to see less usage of the grapple gloves because there was a quick stat on screen. 33% of overall games were won with a team with grapple gloves. That's not a lot. I don't care what the community is saying right now because the stats prove different.
There you have it. I mean, yeah, some of our most consistent teams are actually teams that are not going for those grapple gloves, so we'll have to see how it works out.
Yeah, we're going to have to see in game number 2, everyone, how these players are going to be affected by the new Storm Surge. But you know who could give us an idea? Let's head on over to our casters for game number 2. It's MDF and Shio.
Game 2.
That's what we wanted to see right there. Big fights, big action, and NA East delivering all the goods.
It's just nice to see every single person active right now, the consistency up in skill as well. But that last game, Naughty Cooper, they're in the business. Now who can follow suit? We got 4 more on the way.
We definitely have a couple teams that were in the conversation, though. Heartbreaking, gut-wrenching. When you don't win in those final moments, those 1v1s, they matter the most right now.
Yeah, we haven't hit the action on NA East as well. It seems like it is a bit slower overall, all the way towards the start. That firework kind of snaps, though, in that third zone monster, and the action does not stop after that.
And the craziest part, it's all edge zone fights, right? These are big teams, big names battling one another. But hold up, let's get on this battle bus.
Yeah, Monster talked about patience. We've got none for the game to start. We're excited for game number 2, so we're jumping right in.
It's time to jump onto the world. You see the fireworks in the distance. It's a fun day. It's the weekend. We're kicking off, and the action starts now.
This is just awesome for NA East overall to start to get adjustments to their way of play, to get a little bit more aggressive overall, because that's where their conversation started. That's what they were the best at historically. I'm glad to see a return to history.
Except Snake won the drop spot last game, do enough to fend off the team that decided to contest them. And not only that, they had one of the, again, they were one of the teams that was on that edge, really fighting for their lives, their tournament lives, trying to stay up. Every team they eliminated, no loot. No loot was on those bodies.
It's unfortunate. Xset finally had to try his best for the clutch. It did not happen. Smite, I mean, he lived a little bit longer than before. Faisal rocking with Curly. They'll take their first place spot even higher for now. And we saw all the way in that last game, they almost ended up winning. So this is an even better chance in game number 2.
That's huge right there. They're already in the #1 spot. Top 5, top 6 move on via consistency today. This is important for them. These elims, they matter.
It's huge to be able to control this Shifty Shafts mountain as well. Once they're done looting, they can prop all the way up. You can go for even more tags. We saw how important it was dealing damage on this server. Paper, though, him and Limit, or him and Law, excuse me, they were so close overall to winning that game, too. They had a chance with that big high ground retake. They were the reason that first game was so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Paper and Law played very, very consistent. One of the most consistent teams throughout the qualifiers. Their series points end up here inside the semifinals. And then they change up the strategy. They say, hey, there's no Duke, there's no clicks today. Let's take the Sanctuary. But better yet, let's split up. Let's hold a wide hold on this area. Will it play off the way they want it to?
That's a huge note, actually. We are watching these semifinals on NA East right now. A lot of the top teams through the qualifier process before this have already made it through the finals. So some of the top titans, the big dogs, aren't going to be here to be able to hold on to their high ground places, to be able to play their game and suppress other people. Mason and NPen, they can rise up. Law and Paper, they can fill those spots. It's so much fun to see new names given that chance.
And what was cool about the last game as well, the battle for high ground, NPen and Mason were one of those teams that try to fight for it. We saw some explosive trades with Paper and Law too, and it made it very interesting. That's what we expect now. Will we see new teams emerging out of this season and then taking that to the finals? That is the question that I want to see answered as things start to roll on. But for Polo and Sneaky, things are going to settle down here. They also fend off the team in their general area. And it kind of shows us how serious the players feel right now. This opportunity, these 5 very limited games that they have today. I mean, the fact that people are losing the drop once, changing the strategy immediately, tells us a lot.
You have to adjust fast, yeah, with that one less game. At the same time, when a win is on the line and that can take you to finals, any one of these games that you can win, any type of strategy adjustment, if it can help you, that will be huge. Kicks with Sphinx, though. I mean, we saw Kicks in that driver's seat overall, rocking through. He looked really good in the clutch. I want to see these guys work as a team, though, in this game.
They almost had it last game, but they came very, very close. Team that we didn't talk too much about, Shore and Zypha here, had an exceptional game number 1 as well.
For them, it was all about positioning in some of those final zones. They just stayed ahead of everyone else, and that can just take you so far. It costs a lot to do that, and there's a lot of setup involved, so I'm curious to see exactly how they play this early game. It matters a lot for this team and their strategy.
The first time the Rave Cave, not so much of a rave either. A little bit of space there, but for Vert and Blake, it's not the same conversation. The Condo Canyon has some bad tenants in the general area. They've been fighting zone after zone. This time around, it seems like they got a little bit more to work with, but Vert's medium ammos are pretty low here, so it was definitely an investment.
So first time you're watching the FNCS on NA East, and you're looking at these names, Blake and Vert, the issue they've been having so far, the reason we're watching them in semifinals and they're not in the finals, identity problems as a duo. What kind of game do they want to play? How do things look in roles as teammates? They're still trying to figure that out. Hopefully that can happen this semifinals. For now, Jack and Nosh, they want to stop just losing fights overall, stop losing their ones, get aggressive, get back to their peak. Sometimes these guys were like, or at one point, the pinnacle of NA East, and they want to get back there right now.
Yeah, definitely. And throughout the qualifiers, they were the pinnacle of problems for Scoped and Visuals. And it looks like they're continuing that fight here. Last game, though, the standings show us, hey, man, they didn't perform as good as Scoped and Visuals there. So these tags are very crucial to the situation right now. Jock and, of course, Nash also laying outside the POI. So this is a late rotate on in the distance. You see Tragics here in the shots here. They're going to be looking to slide in, slam into the bottle. And look at that. Visuals finds a huge shot there onto Nash. And already it's going to slow them down and start letting that team know, hey, we're playing really good today. Be careful.
Still, this really good has to continue all the way over to the end game. You can't just win one fight. We saw teams win 6 different fights and end up going down. Survival of the fittest on NA East. Can Visuals and Scope be up to that fitness level is the question. Redux close to accept again. Looks like they've kind of tempered things out. Made a treaty of sorts, who knows? But the war has not started in game 2.
No, and that's the problem, though. We're going to find out real quick right now if Accept and Snake are the better duo. If they can win with this full loadout, while Rogue Shark and Redux also have a full loadout, it's clear they have the advantage.
Absolutely. That will take some time to figure out, though. Scope and Visuals are going to be sticking to Tilted Towers for a hot minute. Zone is close by. They'll just be farming up. Once again, last time we saw about 87 teams alive at this moment, and or 87 players, and about 3 go down. Now we're up to 94, and no one's falling. The numbers on the top left of your screen, just pay attention to those. No one's going down. Everyone's playing passive, playing secure. People really want to make the finals in this region.
And that's because we saw it. Players are literally leaving drops that were contested, that didn't work for them. We're seeing players try new strategy, and that's going to be the name of the game right now. How well can you adapt here on the fly? Not only to the weekend, because we're seeing the new surge effect for the first time on the FNCS stage. The biggest competitive change I think we've had in a year at least. This is like huge change in the pacing of the game. Already, we're seeing different hints everywhere.
Jack and Nosh working on every possible layer 2 over at Tilted. Trying to find any team, but it's still just Scoped. They're taking shots on. I like this, though. You control Tilted. You have a lot of variants on where you can get all these tags confirmed. You control any other portion of the map. Right? It's cool to see who has control there, especially on some of these center hills. It'll be huge for this zone. This is also one of the last pit stops for a lot of players to farm up their brick, farm up a lot of materials before they move into the rest of the game. Zone on the right side of the map. Scopes, though, is just chilling here for now. Finally, another team moving in as this fight finally gets hot and Jack takes a few shots. There's a third party close by waiting and watching for their chance to strike.
Scope's just looking for an opportunity right now. Nosh might have had a chance to give him one, but no. Visuals escapes, Scope slows down, and once again, we get back to square one. The full reset here. What I'm watching, though, is the team just run out of material on both sides. Dom and Tragics have been listening to this. Meanwhile, the entire time, they start to come on in. They want to put their 2 cents into the mix right now. Let's watch it in the feed. Knocks are being exchanged as well. Costa finds Endpen there with a quick finish.
Endpen going down, that's huge. We saw how much space he controlled in game number 1. We're basically taking out the quartermaster, the warden of NA East, before the game gets to finally start, before the prisoners try to escape the semifinals and make it to the finals. That's going to be huge. The fact that it's Costa too. This man is like a ramping power stone. I don't know how to explain it. As soon as you give him a little bit early game, he turns that into so much as more time goes on. So a dangerous player to give an elimination to this early.
He's the amplifier. Be careful with that one. That's a player that will sneak up on you. Give him an inch, he will take the mile. For Nosh and Jack, they're trying to do just that too. Getting back in the tournament for them is going to be much more difficult than ever before. 2 builds now, teams everywhere. This fight dragging on between them, attracting more and more attention. The analogy, it's a sea.
Okay.
A little bit of blood in the sea. The sharks are hovering around right now and they're hungry.
They want to eat. They want to eat, and Scope is definitely looking tasty. but my man is swimming as fast as he can. At the same time, you know, a lot of the times we're watching these mid games and people are asking, what is Storm Surge? How does it work? No one asks who is doing it. Mini has that question though, with a few answers as well.
Thank you so much, Shine. Now, we've seen the impact of the new Storm Surge changes, and one team that's trying to alleviate those, it's Ver and Blake. They're trying to get as many tags off as possible, building all the way up to try and get tags on this team that are rotating out. This enables them to not fight later on during the game, and hopefully for them, they'll stay afloat.
Really feeling like we're going way back a whole chapter right now. NA East on that slow, methodical, and steady pace right now at a time you wouldn't think it'd be possible. But all of a sudden now, it's all on the line here. Big plays, big moments, big opportunities here. Macwood and Threats. Much different situation than we watched in game number 1. They don't have control here, Shayo.
Not just yet. A lot of the times we were a little bit higher in the sky. They had eliminations. I think that's the biggest difference. Off of spawn a little bit out of the mid game. Not looking as aggressive. Maybe being top 5 has kind of shown them that it's time to slow down. They've got the pop off they need. Talked about it though. It's tough to see these guys try to use the grappler a lot in situations where there's so many people with eyes close by. Macwood almost down to 1 HP. Jackson and Dada, they're the ones looking to take them out.
I'm more surprised Dada and Jackson didn't jump on that. A full shield crack, you see his teammate way off in the distance, building his way across, and you don't take full advantage. That was kind of crazy.
Well, you think about it, the reason Dada's getting these, tags down, this damage done, is because there's people moving around fast willy-nilly. If they go fast willy-nilly, then other people will be the Dadas beaming them. You can't be the villains you want to take down. You have to be the heroes with patience to be able to succeed.
Great insight, but we'll see if it plays out that way, because 74 damage above is enough to put pressure on anyone, and we all know mistakes are made when you're under big pressure. Sometimes you just make a wrong move. Teams in the distance, Law, Qua, those are going to be guys that are definitely accurate marksmen in their own. Curly Baby and Phazo, problems continue to arise for this team. Although they have a single elimination, the rotate, they're on the heels of multiple players in their general vicinity. 55 above means they will have to trade tags with someone here. More often than not, usually, you don't want to be shooting at the team in front of you. They will get to the zone first. They'll spell problems for you later, but they have to.
Absolutely. Curly, Phazo need to fight. Zypha, sure, might be in that same type of flight. Yes, 95 below on the right side of your screen. Pay attention right above the minimap. That's where you should be looking at first every time you switch a POV from a player. If that number says below, they're in trouble. They need to go for damage, for frags, and Shore will do just that. Right up to Nosh. He did not see it coming. The edit down though, almost lets him escape. Zypha now in trouble. He's down inside the same box, back towards the walls. Shore does find the 1-for-1 trade. Looks like the storm is the thing that took down Zypha. The damage was just enough. Nosh down 2. Instantaneously, a new team pops up. There is no reprieve for Shore. There is no relaxation. The only vacation he has is back to the lobby.
And for the first time, Skakuga users actually finding success in the game here. This stage, it only took them 4 weeks, but hey, better late than never. At a time that you needed most, they're now in 11th place. Big eliminations there are gonna spell wonders for them now. Scopes is gonna fall inside the feed here. Visuals is on the wall by himself. We saw the trade before. Dom goes down. It's all or nothing right now. The 2-shot is good. It's strong. And just like that, Visuals clubs up.
That shotgun's just so nice to be able to work around your edits with as well, especially when it's just back-to-back. I like that pull on the scopes too, but it might just be a little bit too loud, a little bit too public. I think Visuals is forced to just do this. Look at the bottom right. There's teams looking at him towards the top inside the zone. They're doing the same thing, and Visuals will not make it out of this one.
3, 2, 1, and they go down. Sneaky Polo in the storm. They're hurt.
Is there a challenge right now in NAE where you have to stay in the storm as long as possible between second and third? I think that might just be it. It's so tough to move when everyone's looking for fights and damage.
The zone's pulling south, it's pulling east. It's dragging these players all around right now. And you can see the home, most players positioned up on the outer edges here, the outskirts, bandits in the wasteland. Kaz and Who Fishy. They're kings on the wasteland. 5th place right now. Pretty decent above the surge. Material count, but where are the heals? Another team. Desperate. Looking and hunting right now.
So far, looking at even 5th place, looking at any of these teams up in the hierarchy of NA East, they might be looking good. When it comes to power, though, when it comes to comfortability. Once again, 82 above the threshold, a missing inventory slot from Vert. This doesn't seem that powerful, Monster. It doesn't seem like a spot you can just win from. It still seems desperate and kind of troublesome.
But it is a risk too, right? To stay away from opponents, to be that confident, to position up in the center right now. It's the riskiest thing you can do. Other than jumping in a box, that is, of course, is 20 and Rhythm go down to the hands of Chimp and crew. Chimp is by himself. Chimp and nobody, just Chimp and Chimp. He's an army on his own. He's showing it next. Left running, scurrying away as Siki has to play the defensive wall here. Chimp needs to take advantage of this, but no, the shots in the distance actually punish him enough to slow him down. I think he was just trying to get to the safety and found the chance and found the opportunity there.
So many teams beside him already in zone looking to just bully him out. A lot of the times you'll see people who are way further in just try to section off anyone, even if they're just millimeters away. That team's getting close and personal. This is going to be tough for Chimp overall. No team to play with either. He's used so many builds to just be in the spot, but he's taking shots. This man is hot off the press right now when it comes to damage. Still looking for more, though. 27 above is not going to be enough. It's Johnny and Goo, and now they take the pressure spot. They're the one getting hooked for the moment. Taking a fight on two different fronts. Chimp, though, slightly weak, running out of builds, in trouble. Taking shots from other teams straight far ahead. Goo finally takes down one of the people who's troublesome to him. On the other side, Nets and Sleepy, they're full HP. Johnny down, they're hungry on the walls. Goo's in trouble. Back against it, a big shot will land, but it's not gonna be enough.
Harpoons left and right. They get in that box. It's aggressive as ever. And again, we're watching the game change before our eyes. When was the last time you saw two players running harpoons to make plays like that? Never. But now that we have this new surge, now that the pacing is starting to really pick up, you need to start adapting. And that's a team that's adapting before our eyes. I love what we just saw. That was beautiful.
Adaptation from Macwood and Threats on screen as well. I love you bring up the Steam Monster. Before, it's all about taking these isolated fights in game one. It's all about building your roster and repertoire of damage early in the game. Now, make a big base, make an apartment complex, maybe even look to rent it if you want to get that passive income coming in. Nah, they're focused on being active, looking for shots. 2 eliminations from long range from Macwood and Threats. They're looking good, almost under zone right now.
Just want to say I love Fortnite, especially when we see everything mixed up like this. Someone asked me for my opinion earlier. I was like, I don't know. I got to see. Let the game play out. I must say, this is exciting.
This is really, really just more action-packed, more fun to see. When you have teammates or just teams in general, given the opportunity to make more decisions faster, that's just amazing to watch.
And loadouts. Loadouts tell us so much about the player. Loadouts tell us about how you want to navigate the storm that is inevitable, which is, of course, these fights that are going to come. Pledge and DJ have to make a move here. Shots come in.
Oh, boy.
He's hurt. He doesn't have much to work with. The moment that shield cracks, it's all over. DJ, use it, don't lose it. We say that a lot, but we mean it this time.
He's going to be at a loss after this, though. He's going to be using all of his mats to get in his zone, and then he's going to have nothing to play with. Maybe Pledge has a little bit inside the inventory, but he's lacking back. He's looking to just maybe go for a few more shots against some of the teams that are bullying him down, but looks like they find a little bit of a pocket of time to move in. They split mats. They only have wood left inside their builds.
And just like that, Pledge gets in front. They're very, very hurt, but at least they'll have some shield to work with. Fazo is going to find some loot right there. Grapple gloves it up. A team, a player. Sneaky, not so sneaky there in the open. Forgot some walls while he was at it, and he gets taken out. All that loot is going to generate out the siphon there. Beautifully done there, and a legendary pickup for the loadout. Nice upgrades here. Let's start jumping into it. Paper and Law, one of our most consistent teams, not only on the day, but in the weeks to lead up. And right now, they had a great game one. They're having a pretty solid game two, but this is where they need to fight. 49 damage above. The shots are coming in. Who is it? It's Kaz and Who Fishy, a team that has been equally great so far, and this is just the beginning. Oh, that's a big miss.
Finds the hit, though. Lost in the low ground, dark jungle, with just a tug keg to be able to maybe light up the room a little bit. It's going to be running out soon. Paper's going to be down bad on shields once more. Floor up top looks like he's taking a few surge shots for the moment. He's going to be under that pressure.
Here it is, 2 above. It's all or nothing right now. 10 seconds before things start to get real active. It's already a problem. You hear the surge happening around them. Obviously, Who Fishy and Kaz don't understand that. They can't tell it's happening until the shield crack comes through. And then at that point, it'll give them the information that they need. But they're looking Little do they know, this is a completely different team. This is never fine, Bobby, that's Plur.
All three teams are watching in the box right now have a few jobs to do. They have to move the zone, which is happening with Kaz's screens, his POV. They also have to deal so much damage to try to stay ahead. Fishy down. He messes up option 1. He cannot move with the zone. Kaz after the fact messes up option 2. Can't even deal damage. Paper takes him out.
Smart plays there, get ahead of the zone and play it like you know it. 5 elims is what's gonna get them there. That is perfect. And look at the read there. Paper sees a player up top, says, nope, changing layers. They're taking their time now.
Look at everyone forced to slow down. The mini-map on the bottom right of the screen, even the POV you see for the moment, they're all box to box. They all don't want to risk taking more space. They don't want to waste any mats. They don't want to take anything that puts them in a more dangerous situation.
Here it is. Half reveals itself. It goes their way. This is coming back northeast. This is a lucky situation for a team like Paper and Law here, but the shots are coming in. Punishment from down low, and they're pressured back into the tarp they once came, but it's okay. They'll definitely have plenty of time to work with here. But remember, the surge will only continue to turn online as we get deeper and deeper into the game here. Take a look at the players around them. Teo, Pump, and others now starting to become closer and closer here. Hamster and Thatcher just underneath. They're making edits. They're inside the cone. Law's got that information. Who's on height? Knifey, D-Roller, in control right now.
We saw them once before in a qualifier. Be up top at this spot. Never get invaded, never get roughed up, and then win the game as well. Unfortunately, didn't get to qualify that week, but can they replicate what they've done before?
At this point, I've seen NPen fall 3 times in the feed. I swear if I see Mason alive in the endgame, that man's something different. He's been playing exceptional this game here. Can't ask for more than that. Macwood right now, though, on the hunt here. Focus is on him. He's by himself. He's done enough to really be in a decent position, but no teammate is the problem here.
He has all the tools available. Maximum ammunition, med mist in his inventory to play the zone, and lots of mats to be able to work with at this spot, too. Skooga users, they're still rocking through. That's TK going down, taking down the aggressors. 2 shots from Skooga. So nice to keep moving. He gets everything in his inventory as well. He needs all that. Maybe misses a lot of the brick all the way in the back. 20 HP. He's trying to move in. 7 eliminations. He's taken out so many teams, but he has no treasure to show for it. Donna Jackson, take out D-Roller all the way from the top rope. He's 1 HP, and he will fall.
There it is, a big down and out. Give the 3 count, and it's over. 2 elims for Donna Jackson, the 2 that matter most. D-Roller and Knifey no longer on height, it's theirs. Let's watch it. What are you gonna do when you have high ground? And the win is all that matters. No mistakes can be made here and now. Skittles, on the other hand, he's done enough. He's a warrior. Take a look, 8 elims as a duo here. They're playing great. He's got no time to stop and heal, though. He's got to continue to maneuver through these builds. And lucky for him, there's a little bit of space, but no, it's all over.
It's all good. Rockets right up the top 3. Now we look at way more than 3 teams still alive. It's 10 currently, trying to go for that victory royale, trying to find a way in the finals. Macwood finally out of materials. It got him all the way towards the end of the 7th zone. What a nice run and hiding spot, though. He's going to be taking a little bit more tags when it comes to the Storm. Player 5 popping off in the feed, takes out Lawn Paper. That's an endgame team that's not going to be here to play once more. Muzzin Player 5 now will still start to rock in, see what they can do next.
Second endgame performance here already, appearing with 6 elims. That's huge. Cease and Day for the first time. They show up as well, and they have 4 elims. This is what we need from them. Armored Wall comes out in defensive maneuver from Hamster and Fast, but you can't run that far. The counter at it looks good. Day gets punished big time here, and Cease is left by himself, forced to go into the Storm. Plays are starting to run thin here. What are you gonna do? Out the side, he's looking for it, but they're tracking him down, and now an opportunity opens up. Knifey's still alive somehow from the high ground down to low, the depths. He gets shut down. Hamster and Fast working everyone on the outer edge, and Nix comes in. He catches Cease there too. He's by himself. Another one opens up. No, he gets shut down. It's Hamster. It's Fast. They're really turning up now. Give him a 7th, give him an 8th, and they're adding up these elims here.
It's a graveyard of players in that back box. Pamstone out, is running through it. Nutty and Chucky, though, the best rotations I've ever seen in a game, have made it all the way here so quietly. It's noise, it's action, it's just fast, furious types of gameplay against patience, resilience, and strategy. And patience rules again once more as Pamsto goes down.
We've been here before. We've seen this narrative. The veterans, Nut and Chucky on the low ground. The newcomers, Jackson and Dowda on height. Do not sweat. It's a clean 2v2. Both sides have material. This is where the game gets interesting.
Whoever wins this fight between these two teams rockets straight over to the finals. They can stop playing for the day,
Low
and
ground
Chucky's
gets one.
ready for it. That's one big shot. Both players up top on half HP. Nutty with a side jump tree in the way. He can't overcome those branches.
That's two.
But Chucky's on the right, and he gets another one. They're going all the way down low. Mountain in the way in terms of natural things that are just spawning on the map. It's not going to be possible for them to really overcome.
That's three.
Nutty is just so good right now. He's moving with it. Big shots, not able to chop it down. Another mantle.
That's four.
Another big one. It's huge from Nut. Five for more by himself. Duo up top. Lucky number 7.
Every shot
is
hits.
good enough for the duo to take it home.
Every shot hits. That's how you win a game. That's why we call the stakes veterans versus the new guys. But you know what? It was impressive.
That's just what you like to see, and it all started over in that 5th to 6th zone. Dead side rotation, smart gameplay, staying quiet, staying humble to the last moment, and just letting it roll.
7 eliminations. What a game. Chucky and Nut take it home there in game number 2. It's semifinals, baby. A win sends you to finals, and they've done it.
And they deserve it so much too, those qualifiers. They fought tooth and nail every single time. They had a few wins. They looked good overall on every single day. Now we get to see them on the big stage.
I love what we just watched unfold. That was an exciting game, and it's only just the beginning.
That is right, MDF and Shio Wager. That was just game number 2. We have 3 more games to go and 9 more teams to make their way into the finals. But my goodness, Nut and Chucky, I mean, you guys heard the casters say it. The pros, the veterans there, showcasing shot after shot after shot, not missing a bit, why they deserve to be in the finals.
Yes, very, very good end performance out of Nut and Chucky. Props to them. But another team squeaking into that top 10 of the players there. It was Paper and Law Stash. They're just playing so well right now, Jacob. Really, finding their rhythm. Storm Surge is being no problem for them at all. And I really like this team because at one point they were going against Who Fishy and Kaz, and here it is. And at this moment in time, they already had 3 eliminations. So after this, they're going to have a total of 5 already before Zone 5 even closes. But the patience was there. They were a little bit above Storm Surge, and they felt the aggression coming out of Who Fishy and Kaz. They were like, listen, these guys are 100% below Storm Surge. Let's just wait for our opportunity. And that's why they have so many eliminations. Look at this, 7, and it just keeps going up.
Yeah, no, they're setting themselves up right now to where, yes, they can come into game number 3. They can take that victory royale, advance to the finals, but right now they're playing both win conditions because they're flying to that top of the leaderboard. Regardless of what happens, if they can keep this momentum going, I think you picked yourself another winner.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, they did actually end up going down to Muzz and Playify, who also playing very, very well. A very consistent team as well. Listen, we talked about it. Their qualifier 3 performance before the semifinals, it was a 6th place and a victory royale. So it'd be no surprise if these guys go ahead and hit that double header and advance straight through to the finals with a victory royale whilst they're in the top 6. But I mean, the aggression from this duo is so good. And then the grapple gloves to back them up. They can make those rotations very, very easy, and almost getting into this 5th zone right here with 100 builds each is really good in comparison to what other teams have had, like what, 50?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of question it a little bit. That switch up of the drop spot, I think your question was kind of answered, and it's working out for them. And it's honestly unfolding right before our very eyes of why they decided to switch things up yet again.
Well, what else is unfolding is our top 10 leaderboard right now. Remember, everyone,
Okay.
6th place. That's what we're looking for right here. Paper and Lost Stash jumping up into 1st place. Muzz and Playify jumping up 9 placements now into 2nd. And of course, Threats and Macwood going to be there as well. Skogan users actually jumping up even more. That's 10 places right there. And although Fazo and Curly Baby might have dropped down a little bit, they're still in our top 6. And so is Kicks and Sphinx.
Yeah, I'm not too worried for my prediction. I'm not too worried just yet because you know as well as I do, if any of those top 6 teams get a victory royale here, that's just going to open up that spot towards the bottom half of the leaderboard for somebody to get it for free, to get served up on a silver platter.
Yeah, and you're right. A team that I'm not seeing on a leaderboard, it's Nut and Chuggy. That's because they got that victory royale. And oh my gosh, somebody please stop Nut. Taking full advantage of the mantle mechanic in the end game, throwing that team by surprise over and over and over again. You heard MDF count like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like he just kept popping off. And Chucky was like kind of like on the low ground, like, yeah, man, go ahead. You got this. Like Nut's just up there like 1v2ing, but absolutely phenomenal gameplay here to close it out.
Yeah, you can see him kind of falling towards the low ground again. I don't know who made the call. Probably a great idea to reset there in that moment. But at the end of the day, you got to give it up to them. From a perfect cup weeks ago to this right here in the finals, you know, no pun intended, but that's just nuts.
I also want to talk about the team that stole height away from the D-Rollers team there. Jackson, of course, doing a great job. They did get second place in that game, and you can see that they're jumping up to our top 10 right there. So I'm excited to see how we saw them steal away height.
Yeah, the leaderboard is ironing itself out here, but it's great to see D-Roller and Knifey on height. This is one of the more aggressive teams in the lobby, so pay attention for some of those mid-game eliminations, and finding them is what allows them to get up on the height. But Jackson J wanted none of that. He wanted a piece of the high ground, and they were looking pretty good, but it comes down to these teams taking high ground just a little bit too early. You can see he's only got 2 builds left here in that 1v2 situation, and it's just not enough against Nut and Chucky, who have been popping off on the low ground, finding those refreshes consistently, so that way when they do go up, they are way healthier and a way better position to fight for it.
Yeah, just a quick fact about this team that we're talking about is they do so well in those round 3s, even got a couple of top finishes before they enter that qualifier. So honestly, for them, they could be a sleeper pick.
I mean, I'm excited to see it. And if they don't make it today, they still have, of course, day 2 and day 3 for the semifinals to make it in that sense right there. But just looking at some of the names that we have right now, Pamsto and Fatch jumping up 17 placements, Vivid.
I mean, listen, I can't believe they even have to jump up 17 places. That game 1 innovation to throw the tires into the bush and watch that player fly up and hit some amazing shots. That's why we love them so much, because they're just so smart. And then we also saw them popping off in that end game right now. Like, imagine a team that is so smart, but then also so mechanically good to find those eliminations in the end game. Watch out for them.
Yeah, that's a much needed change, much needed adaptation for them, because if you go and look at their qualifier performances, they were doing so good at staying alive. They were doing so good at placements. Their biggest weakness, though, not finding the eliminations. If they played like this to the qualifiers, we wouldn't see them today. They'd be waiting in the finals.
And obviously, they no longer have to worry about Nut and Chucky because they've already made their way into the finals. They're not going to be competing over the next 3 games. Speaking of 3, let's head on over to game number 3 with our casters, MDF and Shayo.
Game 3.
2 teams already all the way over to the finals of NA East, and 3 more to go today, with the top 6 also rolling in after the fact. Monster, it's an amazing day of Fortnite.
It's already starting off, and it's getting very, very exciting. That last game was such a great one. I got to relive it one more time, but let's think about what happens now. The dynamic changes. Players win, they leave. Spots open up.
Absolutely. For Chucky, they have one of the god spots on the map, right? They're going to be able to just move out. Another team now moving in. At the same time, for some of these teams that are being contested, you know, maybe Scope has a chance to play the game now. He stops getting annoyed by some of the teams in the spot. Who knows?
That's right. We'll see what happens. The battle bus is here. Let's jump on.
Another game, another time, more action over at NA East. We are not stopping. We got 3 more games to go.
Let's get on this battle bus. Let's watch it unfold. Here it is, the full split starting to come through, and it's looking good. We already know what's on the line. Victory Royales, top 5, top 6 for consistency. You have to play the game. You have to play it well. At the Shifty Shafts, we've seen fights happen time and time again. Faisal and Curly Baby have managed to win this every single time. This time, though, the story's a little different. They're off to the back foot. Larson has a chance.
Faisal knows where he is. Has a lot of close range options right now. 1 harpoon, and Larson's gone. It's going to be comboed with a shotgun. Faisal just needs to find this. Now 2 people in tow. I don't think a striker or a 2-shot can help you, my friend. You're going to need a lot more than that, especially at 1 HP. Wow, this is all about preparation. This is all about Smite landing fast, being able to just beam mans out of the sky, and then Larson capitalizing on everything.
And if you think back to game 1, they were alive. They made it to that mid game, but they got out of this drop spot shambles. Game 2, they were shut down. Game 3, they win the drop early. For the first time, they have time to work with. We'll see how that ends up playing into their favor. For Maxo, looks like things are not going in their favor. Laxa is down here. Laxa, let's see it.
Hold up, I think this is, the Pamsto Fatch type of trade. They had the advantage. Pamsto up in the business. He had to be forced to go for the siphon. And as a result, Maxo's there with a little dance as well to staple that one in.
Pamsto and Fatch were in 7th place as well.
Yeah, that's going to be rough for them to be able to go and stick with that consistency. One less game, that means the action's a lot more exciting. But one less game also means less chances for some of these teams to stay consistent.
Pump and tail allow the pickup to happen here. They want the chance to just destroy Loxit once again out the sky.
All the moves?
They do a good job. They get the knock. And now the tags onto the teammate. Talk about smart. Farming this team that's hurt.
It's not only that. This forces Maxwell to be in one specific spot. You know when you go down back home, you're playing games with your boys, your friends. You end up going down, you're in the mic screaming, please pick me up. What the heck, I'm resable, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. That's gonna be going through the mind of Maxo as he leaves, locks it behind. Gonna be tough overall for these guys to really try to lock it in. That's huge for the Elam.
One of the rare times you just leave your teammate behind. You're like, nah, man, just go. We'll try this again later. But like Deja Vu locks us down now. We'll see what Maxo can do later into the game. Jumping on over to Vert and Blake here. Their drop spot of the Condo Canyon. Very, very solid this time around. They have their 2 eliminations. They've won their early game drop quickly. Glancing over the feed visuals and scope. Not the same conversation.
Gonna be a little bit different for them overall at Tilted. That fight took so long to start. We'll touch on that point in just a sec. Blake, Vert, can they get this Condo Canyon situation under wraps? Yes. But Freeze going down once more.
Blake's a great player. You're seeing it play out right there. 2-shot shotgun, man. Does a lot of damage. The focus on goes Blake's face there. You'd love to see it. And again, big shout outs to Blake, guys. If you guys are in the chat room, wherever it is that you are tuning in, don't forget, players like Blake, man, he takes the time, makes those content pieces. That's what we love most about him. And then, of course, the webcam, we get to see those reactions in real time. There's a chance he qualifies today. He's in 8th right now. He's looking very good.
Can definitely rise up the ranks. 7th is overall down. Past that in terms of elims. Some of these teams should be leaving our eyes before that final game 5 of the night. They're just too good to be up top right now. Fazo 2nd place at one point. Muzz and Playify also making it really deep into a game. Retz and Macwood 3rd place, and at one point also top 3. You can kind of sense kind of the tension relieving itself, or things getting even more active on NAE East right now. I thought that this would happen as a bunch of these teams start to be a little bit more patient in games 1 and 2. They realize no matter what happens, we get into scuff fights, right? There's this tension we're trying to build, a patient game we're trying to play. It's not worth much. So a bunch of those Tilted Towers fights that took 20 minutes to start. Daily Bugle as well. For Skugga too, they don't really look for tags as much as they're moving around. There's not many people active. NAE is starting to move a lot faster now. We had 94 people alive at this point in the previous game we just watched. Now it's 81 overall. Things are moving so much quicker.
Game 2 showed us you cannot wait. You have to close the fights out. You have to commit. Otherwise, both sides are just going to get just destroyed. You're going to offset your chances. Fuses and Skittles jumped way on up. They were in the teens. Now they're in the single digits. Law and Paper, with the performance that they had last game, they earned just enough to continue to hold their state in 1st place right now.
Yeah, we saw that Maxwell fight go down. Wondering what happened? Well, so is Miniminer.
Thank you so much, Shy. Now, what we're seeing here, of course, we saw Maxo's teammate going down with the reboot, and he just decides, you know what, I am getting out of here. He uses the boat to rotate all the way to the edge of the map to hopefully escape from any oncoming players, but of course, this will put them below on the Storm Surge. This will set them back. Will they recover? We'll have to wait and see.
Maxo waiting till the next chapter of the FNCS to start playing. Gotta respect it, I guess, if you want to stay alive.
That was smart, though. You know, drives off into the sunset. If you get far enough, you become a little pixel. He was trying to break that sight. Appreciate the breakdown there, Mini. That story will continue. But remember, the further he goes, the harder it will be to get back to that reboot card as well. So unless he wants to play this game out as a solo, hopefully he decides he wants to bring that boat on back.
That'll be tough, you know. It's Elite and Pump who are making these strats to pick up eliminations, or Pump and Tail. Excuse me, and now they're actually waiting for the boy to come back. I've let the boat have its ride. They've let Maxwell see into the future. And I think all he saw is his own demise. Boxed up like a fish. Pump, you're too good.
Not only that, they wait in the bush here. This is so sneaky of them, actually camping the reboot card. You'll love to see it, the strategy. There's no friends in Fortnite, just duos. TK and Ritual got pumped out of the last game by Nevify and Crisp here, so only right that they give them a little bit of their own medicine. This is a back and forth fight here. Nevify and Crisp on the defensive. This time not looking as great. Let's see it. Find some minis, that's actually huge. Gonna cap them off here. Pretty solid. Ritual backs off, so they want to continue to play their game out. No need to sit here. Nevify gets a moment, Crisp gets a moment. They'll be able to find some mats and jump back into things. D-Roller and Knifey on the other side. One of the few teams we've seen consistently angle up for high ground in Zone 5.
They're looking for their chance at finding a few shots. If you're looking for any info on competitive, any type of news, just like the surge changes that came through, you can go ahead and follow FN Competitive on Twitter. Stay up to date on all things competitive, all things FNCS. They're in the business.
Definitely looking good right here. We jump back over to Blake and Vert out of the Condo Canyon, now over into the Shuffle Shrines. It's looking pretty solid here as they continue to rotate through. We talked about teams adjusting the loadout. We're seeing it. Both sides rocking triple heals. Forget the grapple gloves that are at the drop. It's time to play the way the game needs to be played right now. They have 2 elims, yes, but we all know early game eliminations usually are against weaker players. There's less surge that you get off that, less damage in those types of engagements overall. With how quickly they cleaned up the drop, tells us enough. On over to Dubs and Rokane. We're inside the top 10 here. Positioned up on the edge. I like that they're holding the team out. Let's see how well this works for them.
Heals buy you the time. Time gets you the damage. Damage gets you the points. So everyone kind of trying to chain react all those things together. All the way up top on half the foundation, there's a team 2 looking for the shots, or looking for some shots from the outside in. Playify and Muzz, second place overall. I think they're just going to ride this consistency wave the whole way through. They make top 3, top 5 every time. They can sneak away with a win, but this should be a sure for qual.
That's all they have to do. That's all they have to do is continue to play their game. Muzz and Playify. We see what they were able to do, especially, most particularly in the round 3 qualifiers. They were one of the few teams that was able to jump up, snipe up a first place. But we all know that format, that stage is so different. It's just be consistent. And I'm like, hey, we can do that in this type of lobby when everyone's playing to make rash decisions. Everyone's trying to play to win. But we don't need to do that. Our strategy will stay true. Dowda and Jackson. The gut-wrenching second place last game. The high ground hold was crazy. And to give it up to Nut and Chucky on the low ground. But hey, it jumps them up to 9th place. So they're in the conversation for a top 6.
All right, for the rest of the weekend, they don't have to fight Nut and Chucky either.
True.
So
true.
That's fine for them. Hopefully next time, whoever they do go up against, they're not going to have those jitters. At the same time, yeah, that 9th place boost, it is a lot.
It's a short day for NAEs, guys. 5 rounds of Fortnite in front of us. 5 victory royales, and then your 6 average best placing teams will move on via eliminations and points earned from placement points. Couple of ways to get out of this weekend and on into the finals, which is a bit away.
Teams can get any which type of job done. I think the most interesting thing is just seeing a bunch of teams overall play regular Fortnite for the first 4 games. Try to go for consistency in those first 4 games. As soon as game 5 hits, and you have a bunch of these teams who are 27th place, 30th place, they realize there's no chance for them to get top 6. Everyone will be playing for that VR. It's gonna be a banger. That being said though, right now, we still have a bunch of teams holding their spot, and a bunch of others like Max and Vert, like Kaz and Hoofishy on screen right now. We're trying to get into that top 6.
Honestly, game 2 might just have given us somewhat of what game 6 pacing will be like.
Yeah.
And we saw what happens. So many teams will just be devastated when it comes down to the inventory, the loot, and those mid-game fights. Hoofishy now has a lot to worry about here. He's 61 damage below the surge, and there's a team holding him out. He's barely in the safe zone. No one's nearby. And he's got 3 weapons in a loadout, so the mobility. Running shy here. And at a vacant base, no one's there. Little does he know, the only team is that one that's shooting at him.
It's the dry land all the way above them. They can go north and stay away from some of these scary teams, but up north, no one's in the zone yet. Hoofage is gonna have to go head-to-head with whoever is on screen with him, and on screen right now, we can see these head-to-heads already rocking through. Sneaky up against Aaron. It's about 34th place against 25th. Gonna be tough overall for these teams to fight over at Coney. It's not even in zone, so Aaron just says, never mind. I'm gonna move all the way in. Sneaky, they'll stay on the houses. Meanwhile, must play a fight. They're getting close and personal. Down below, they already have one full elimination, it seems like. That's another team that might have fallen down, but they have a knock. They're trying to turn to a full Elam. Muzz does not want to let these guys have the time for the res. They're moving right in.
Here comes the push in. That's a down body there, too. They take advantage of the 2v1 situation. The splashes come in, though. The defense, great on the other side of the wall. And they lose track of them for a moment's time here. But they don't need the body standing. They can still get the one that's down. Any one of these two will suffice here. Jelly with a counter shot there, loses teammate, unfortunately. The Muzz and play a fight, get what they came for, but that's not enough. That down body had about 40 HP on it.
There's like 3 different teams up in this fight, hunting down Jelly. Play a fight is gonna be the most accurate. Nice quick wrap up. Muzz is there for the final shot. This is gonna be good, but there's gonna be one more team rocking in. There's another one to the south looking for a few shots. TK Rituals, it seems like they've just been contained overall on this right side of the map. They haven't gotten to play the game of Fortnite yet.
And Ritual opens up with a big shot from the boat there. TK gets exposed. As the wall opens up, Chimp and Spade are getting pushed back slowly and surely there. TK now, Surge, active, doing a lot of damage for him. A 189 below means that they have to get a full finish worth. Ritual's gonna get finished off there. And that's it, he's down and out. Spade and Chip turn the battle around. The shots are good. It's one Elam. And they get the second here. We already know TK is just slowly getting ticked by the Surge, so it's only a matter of time now. TK doesn't put a lot of punishment down. I mean, this is going to be perfect for a player like Spade here. Great job for him to swing around the side. That's exactly what he wants to do. It should be all she wrote here as they start to finish up this fight right now.
Slow pushing in. They got a little bit of damage tags already, so TK, yeah, he's on the back foot. Finally down. That only nets them about 100 above. That already dwindles down to 93. There's about 7-8 players that need to go down already. This is going to be tough for the rest of the lobby. D-Roller, Knifey, we know they've done the damage. Polo, Sneaky. Before this position we're watching for them, didn't have much done at all. I see a body's worth of loot here, almost 2 bodies right now, and that puts them 300 above the threshold.
And the feed still lighting up there. Nets is down, Siki is down. Everyone continuing to fight through. Remember, that threshold's now been adjusted. 64 players is the magic number. We finally hit it.
These are peaceful.
Sacrifices, though. Clarity G being one of them.
All right, and the next zone is starting to lock in as well, so we get another warning. That's going to be way down to 54. Let's see how it goes. Slacks and Clarity. Or should I just say Slacks? Rocking in.
Options here. Polo on the side, Sneaky on the other side. It's not looking too good.
Most surprising thing so far is seeing Slacks and Clarity this far behind the competition. Only about 10 points in their overall repertoire for the day. You would assume this would be a team that's looking to play that consistency, moving all the way in. Even Degen and Pledge being in so many good spots. I think I just saw Degen get knocked. It's going to be tough for some of these teams that we think that could move in to look good. Degen actually is inside this entire big spot of bases. Threats is right there behind Pledge. He knows, or I guess he doesn't for the moment, this is going to be a 1v1. Backs off, him and Macwood kind of regroup, and they have a whole base to work with.
That was almost a very bad situation for Pledge to be in. He didn't even turn around and protect that wall, but he does end up sliding away ever so surely there. Degen is fully eliminated there. 3 big pots in Pledge's inventory. He doesn't even have the heart to pop it right now because he doesn't want to give away the visual indicator that he's here healing. Smart plays from Pledge there to take it nice and slow. That is strategy, guys. For Kicks, he's going to start using that med kit. Ozone is starting to look in the distance. They get that effect, and this is what happens. They turn in. Looking to catch the quick burn here. He's got to be quick with that one. Might have been a mistake. It was. Rapid. Going to be upset about that one, but it's up to Ozone now.
2 minis, a little bit of time. The bandage is down to kind of a mom spaghetti situation from Ozone. And yeah, the pressure is looking kind of heavy for him too. He's not going to be able to keep up with this spot. Kicks has just done a lot of fighting this game. It'll put him above the threshold for now. 3 players need to go down. Unfortunately for him though, he needs Sphinx to be able to get him to a spot where he can play for second place, where he can play for that top 10. Ozone now finally down, lots of loot for him to use. But we know how down bad that team was. It's not much at all for him. He never even shot once at Ozone, so he doesn't get the points for that elimination. It's just looking bad for Kicks in that box.
But not looking bad for users in Skuga, who have the high ground here. 400 damage above the Surge. Plenty of options to feast on in the general area. Dowda finds one of the feet. That's a great pickup for him. We saw them struggling for a bit. Kazahu Fishy might be next up for a target here. Mosquitoes, users, they continue to rotate. They're trying to just get on in. They want to play it safe. They're close.
They're fine. They're looking good. I think the biggest issue right now to pay attention to is all the way on the bottom spot of the map. This is very nice from users, though, to set up a base that's not vertical, but super horizontal. You get access to so much around you inside these 3 boxes. They're going to be all good. Meanwhile, towards that south side, it is trouble box to box. Not only do you have to deal with the pressure from NPen and Mason, you don't have that much space to move. There's different hills and mountains in the way in low ground. All these boxes that should just be 1 cubic wall of height are cut in half.
30 seconds, though. It's all or nothing right now for Mason and NPen. Last game, NPen just continued to be the player that took the tanked all the damage. You saw it in the feed. He was always the first to go down, and Mason comes to the rescue round after round. This time, though, they're both up. So I'm feeling this team right here. They have a true chance. Great counter shot there. Mason finds an opportunity down Snake here. And now, Except is in a world of trouble. He has to run. The full finish there keeps him above the Surge, and Mason goes in. It's a 2-for-1 special. Can they get the finish? He slips away, but that's okay. They are rewarded with more life in the game. NPen's hurt. The team comes back to the low ground. No, these trades, and now the lobby's focus is starting to come in.
It's a whirlwind for Mason and NPen, but somehow they survived the storm. This is why I call these guys one of the best defensive teams. They're put under pressure. NPen absorbs so much of it. Mason finds the gap to land the shots against 2 different teams. NPen has that med kit to be able to keep playing the game. And they got so much damage monster. All they have to worry about is making top 5.
And it makes sense, though, that was Blake and Vert who came in from the side there and actually snipe up one of those eliminations. So they clean up the team of OMG Me Too. That was super damaged there. Jack and Nosh from the outside of Tilted now sliding their way into their first endgame as well.
Having trouble actually grappling all the way towards the next side. Jack, though, buys a little bit of time to just keep walking on foot. Yeah, this is going to be trouble. Lots of teams looking at the spot. D-Roll is going to try to make it in. Elite and Glace also inside the same spot. They're going to be running into Pump and Teo momentarily. We know these guys always set up traps. This might just be another one.
Yeah, but Elite is still up right now. He's just underneath the box. Here it is. They got control of the situation. They can stop and heal. They definitely have a lot to work with. Pump and Teo have a lot to lose too, though, so they're gone. They want to rotate. They don't need a team sitting on top of them. Smart play by them to go ahead and move while the other team needs to pause and heal. Meanwhile, Blake and Vert still fighting. But not just fighting. They fought their way from the outskirts all the way north into the new zone, and they are safe. Can they pause and get enough time to heal and get back in the game? Looks like it. That's exactly what they need right now.
They're going to have it. This is top 4 too, so this is the game where they can convert kind of being amongst the pack to permanently having a spot inside that top 6, having a really good chance for the back half of the day to get straight over to the finals. Users and Skittles, though desperate on the other side of the wall, are going to be able to take a little bit of control of the wood. Blake knows it now. He can't edit it, so he's trying to just walk back to have a max rotate to make. Look at the bottom right side of your screen. That mini-map is showing you that there is no time, no space for Blake and Vert to make weird moves. They have to just be decisive here. They have to just go. It's over a huge mountain. Skuga and users go all the way around. It's on paper. Who are dictating it. First place overall on the boards. They might just look for an early release to get towards the finals.
The 3rd time today. 3rd time's the charm here for Law and Papers. They get a high ground play. Once again, Zone 5, they just say, you know what, we're going to commit to it. And it's been working every time. I mean, look at the points. That says enough. Now, what the lobby is hoping, get them out of here. Let the guys up top with all those points get a win, right? Because then you don't have to worry about those big point climb ups. We're in the final stretch here. This is game 3. The chances are going to start running very slim, and the way the game dynamic needs to play out for you is going to play differently depending on who's got all those points up top, because that threshold is all that matters. For D-Roller here, I mean, he's as good as Raps right now unless he could get this heal up in a full siphon.
-100 just a bit too early on the height take too. Going to be tough to hold overall. Blake and Vert all the way on the low ground, looking for their chance to kind of dig themselves out of the dirt. They get a little bit lucky though. The nice bounce back buys them so much time.
0 mats though. Low mats for Threats too. This is a fight that he needs to win here. There it is, 6 builds now. Low ground peaks. Look at all the edits that are open. This is so exposed. And that's what happens when it's your builds, enemy builds. Everyone's got a different agenda here, and it doesn't connect. Finally now, space opens up. We talked about D-Roll. He gets ticked twice. He finds a med miss. That's going to put him back in the game for a little bit.
This is just so down bad, though. No match. He's not going to be able to really move past this. Blake's kind of in that same spot. This house, the last time that any of these players that are just down atrocious will find peace. There it is. Blake moving in with Mac. Nice shot from Dubs, but there's another team rocking it in. It's Threats, it's Macwood, they control low.
And that shot, though, from Dubs was onto Blake. That takes him out the game. Blake and Vert now down and out. Semi-consistent game, though. They earned something. Threats and Macwood have been playing very, very well. 6 Elans, they're on the comeback story. Maz gets taken out there for 4 Elans inside the top 10, and it's a great finish for him still, too. Skakuga alive and looking well on high ground. Law and Paper continue to raise that threshold, but remember, you want this ship to duck. Get it out of here. Let them win the game at this point, honestly, because if they stay in, they are solidifying a position. But look, the Eels continue to add up. Paper's down. The win condition might be given up. Macwood and Threats say, you know what? We want that win. And Threats is by himself now.
Macwood going down while he's looking straight towards the sky. Law loses Paper as they get a little bit too lackadaisical all the way up here in this spot, too. Looks like all the mats would have been on Paper, too. Law in trouble. Only wood to use. Second height also fragmented, chopped down. Threats is making a wave to go maybe all the way up high. It's Skittles who's going crazy in the zone in the storm. Grappling all the way in. Going for the shot, it chokes. Going for the next one, it won't pull. Threats is looking for it. Law with no goals has to get away. The sprays is still there. Somehow he's alive, and Threats has now gone down.
Chimp's got the high ground as well. How did this happen? 6 Elans for Spade and Chimp, and they're looking strong here. They have just enough mats to hold it for a little bit. And Spade farms the wall, so yes, the time's on his side. Meanwhile, Law finds Teo. In the other side, Nick loses his teammate. It's looking like all solos everywhere here. The battles, and Nick finds another one. Bobby's down. Surely now, it's a solo situation here. It's every man for themselves.
All the way up top, there is one duo that's still starting to survive for the moment. Horror is looking for his chance to stay in the game. Inside the box, trapped out. Law is trying to move around. He had everything. Everything looked good. It was dreamlike, but he does not find that siphon. He does not find the spray. For Spade and Chimp, they've struggled so far in every single game, but they let the zone, they let every other player do the work. It's time to take out that first place spot. It's time to take your ticket straight to the finals. Chimp and Spade are looking for it. Only Law stands in their way.
Chimp lines him up, and Spade's been knocking him down. Big, big finishes all day today. It's a 9 Elam game. Make it 10 when they close it out here. Law's on the run. It should be all but over here. One commitment's all it takes. Chimp's got the HP. This is it. He's confident. He wins.
And that's the boss letting them know that it's ready. The seats are warm. Go straight to finals. Pure, patient power. That's what I like from Spade and Chimp.
That's what I like too, because I picked them for the prediction, and they win a game and way to punch out in game 3. Well played for Spade and Chimp. We get to run that highlight back one more time, of course. In expert fashion, they fight for high ground a little early. They take it in what was a very, very sketchy win, but in the end, though, just look at it right here.
Hey,
you feel good? You hit the shot.
It's so nice. And they were, I think, the most humble team inside this endgame, too. It was the battle of 2 big egos between Macwood on second height and Law all the way up top. Duos going head-to-head. The team that just stayed focused, Spade and Chimp, who are the VR winners on screen, they take it all the way home.
And not only that, you saw the fight, right? Macwood falls, Threats is there, he's playing excellent defense, but the missed shots was all we needed to see, and all of a sudden, it was just a scramble on height.
Just an absolute wrap-up. It could have gone any which way. That's first and second who were in the business, though. How far does every single team go? I mean, our team on the desk has the answers.
Thank you so much once again, Shio and MDF, for calling all of that action as well. And now we're pretty much at the actually beyond the halfway point now. So only 2 more opportunities for teams to grab those VRs and those placement points because they want to be in the top 6. But they don't even have to worry about that right now because we're going to be focusing on some of the duos that we got to watch with incredible highlights.
Yeah, and it's looking like one of these duos that does not need a victory royale. It's going to be Paper and Law. They're just playing way too consistent right there. And that's squeezing out a second place right there out of Law stash after Paper goes down a while ago. It's just really phenomenal to see, Jacob.
And honestly, you kind of hinted at it. You talked about it yourself. Their performance in the Duo Cash Cup right before, that's valuable experience. It doesn't matter how many V-Bucks you have in your account. That's something you simply cannot buy.
There you go. You cannot buy experience. Jacob said it here first, but look at this. Law, actually, Paper went down to this high ground attempt retake out of Macwood and Threats. And honestly, I really liked it out of Macwood and Threats because they were actually getting eliminations on the low ground. And as soon as they got them, they did this thing where they're like, hey, listen, let's look for the high ground. But you know, they end up taking Paper out, but Law was way too far ahead of them. He ends up eliminating one of them at that point. He's able to hold it for a little bit longer, but he keeps getting shot out and ends up having to play the low ground. But the low ground was just so chaotic that he was able to pick up a couple more points. And Kelly, look at this, 110 points, first place.
I don't think they have to worry about grabbing a VR anymore. They're clearly going to be just having an easy time in our top 6 right now. So is Threats and Macwood. Mustn't Play If I might have dropped down 1 point, but they are not down yet. Skugan users are going to be in 4th place. D-Roller and Knife are jumping up into our top 6. And of course, Blake and Vert Max going to be in our 6th place spot there.
Yeah, but Vivid said something to me a few weeks ago that just stuck with me for so long is NA East on this region, there's no one singular team that claims that high ground game after game after game, but there's one team today that we've seen doing it numerous times. That's Macwood and Threats. Unfortunately enough, they haven't been able to hold on to it, but they still have 2 more chances. And if they keep playing their cards right, they're going to get themselves a royal flush.
Yeah, and usually we accredit a lot of victory royales to the high ground right now, but Macwood and Threats are still doing completely fine. They have 97 points, and they are finding themselves in 2nd place with this playstyle. But what I really love to see out of them is the fact that they're changing it up. You know, game 1 didn't necessarily go their way because they tried to hold it from that 5th zone. But here you could see during the 8th zone, this moving zone, they're like, listen, we just got an elimination. The refresh was found. Now we have the resources to try and go for this. And honestly, it would have worked out if they were just a little bit more aware of the fact that Law was still above them. You know, it just didn't work out 100%, but still, like I said, they're in 2nd place. Like, it's working out pretty well.
We obviously also have to look to the team to grab that double-digit elimination VR. Spade and Chimp, of course, one of our casters picks as well. You know that they're feeling pretty good with that.
Rest of Lobby's got to be lucky. That's just simply put, because they have been one of our most consistent teams. So you got to think about, if they didn't get that victory royale, they're just taking away all the points away from everybody else in the lobby, who are honestly going to have to figure out where to get those points, but they're going to qualify. Another team's going to be able to move up, and another opportunity is going to be given.
Yeah, and a team that we usually say put on the low ground, that mid ground, and honestly, that's what they were doing in this game. But then all of a sudden, because of that scramble that was going up on the high ground between Threats and Law towards the end of the game, they were like, oh, listen, there's nobody up there, and we're like the only duo left. And they find so many eliminations on the back foot of it as well, Kelly.
A lot of these teams, when they're in that low ground, kind of get tunnel vision, and they aren't aware of what's going on in the high ground. Instead, they're worrying about getting eliminated. But Spade and Chimp, so aware of what's going on around them, and like you just said, able to take that high ground because no one was there. But let's focus on another team right now, currently sitting in our 3rd place spot, Muzz and Playify. Just time and time again, just absolutely slaying it.
Yeah, they're taking that same route that you kind of have our 1st place team, Paper and Lost Ash, doing. They're playing all of the win conditions at once. It's not like they're trying to throw out that victory royale. They're just playing until the end game, collecting all the points like you see here, 84 at one point or another, and it continues to count.
Yeah, and coming in the game to tell you, listen, MDF, shout out to you. You are ahead of the meta. You were talking about our team's going to drop their grapple gloves. Maybe not correct in that right, but teams are actually dropping their shotguns. We saw multiple teams right there with just assault rifles and Stinger SMGs and then 3 heals to back it up. They're starting to realize that we're taking way too much damage in the mid game due to this aggressive storm surge, and we want more heals, but at the sacrifice of losing that shotgun slot. So close range battles might be taking a back seat during the rest of these games.
I'm also noticing just a few more harpoon guns as well.
Yeah.
You know the Clay Classic, of course, and I definitely think that they're utilizing them in a way that the grapple gloves can't be.
Yeah, I feel like they have to at this point because of the storm surge changes. They're forcing a lot of these teams to expend a ton of resources, a ton of items that you would not normally have an opportunity to grab because the rest of the lobby, they're going to focus on it. They're going to see that same treasure and try to make it theirs.
Man, this is it, guys. We have 2 more games to go here. Which 5 teams will grab those VRs and which 6 teams will make it their way into the finals? Or casters have an idea about that.
Game 4.
Thank you, Kelly. You called it first. The halfway mark. We're past it. We're starting to jump into the late rounds, the champion round.
This is all that's kind of left for some of these players. These 2 spots really to get the win, move all the way over, and have a chance to get towards the finals. Any team is still in the bag, Monster.
There's a lot of teams still in the competition right now. Remember, with every team that wins, another spot opens up and we get more opportunity now. But let's start focusing on the players who can do this here. We need a team to pop off big. If you want to walk away as fancy as we saw, you know, spade and chip.
Just let Law get all the way towards the top. Let Macwin maybe have a seat of that throne, because it opens up space for so many other teams to lock in, to drive by. It's always amazing to see. That being said, though, it's about that time, Monster.
Let's jump on the battle bus. Here we have it, guys. It's game number 5 or 4. I forgot. This is a short day. We got 5 total. It's 4. We're in that halfway mark here. Let's start getting on to it. That's the muscle memory kicking in. Tilted Towers, we know, a contested drop. Reality Falls is going to open up a little bit. Synapse Station is an interesting one for me. That's where Xcept and Snake are.
Yeah, usually Synapse Station has some of these types of games where VRs get you to the finals. There's winners being produced from that side. I remember last season, Z Andy, he rocked in this type of beat when it came to qualifiers. A bunch of other teams that were looking at Synapse Station also had a little bit of leg in when it came to moving in. Maybe it's just because of South Zones. That being said, though, Shifty Shafts has been the first earliest operating spot where we've seen Larson just take control of the tilt, try to look for shots on people gliding by, but this time on Birdwatch, he sees nothing flapping its wings.
And remember, that's because Smite and Larson won the drop before, and now they demand their respect. They get it. They have a little more room. Xcept and Snape, what happened last game, they pushed the team completely off of them, of Redux and Rogue Shark. Both sides fully loot and then initiate the battle. But like game 1, like game 2, we watched that narrative unfold once again where Redux and Rogue Shark contest Snake and Xcept head-to-head, and they lose that fight. And right now, 2 eliminations go in their favor, but we're starting to see the makings of a team that needs a victory royale.
That was very close. 13 HP separating Xcept and Redux. If there was some type of patch note in between games that let that SMG be just a slight of a second faster, it would have been a much different game for one of those teams.
We all know we've seen that SMG get toned down time and time again, but here we are, Macwin and threats. Again, look at that loadout right there. Mobility plus just heals. Where's the weapons?
Not much here, but as Vu was mentioning, and as you almost alluded to, it's all about just dropping these shotties, having the AR in tow, so they have half the puzzle already solved. AR's in the business. Grapple's also in the business. Just look for one more spray weapon. Nosh is keeping it classic. Jack probably too. That's just because of this type of situation. They're still box fighting, and Nosh is going straight for scope now. They already had this one wrap up fast before. Jack's trying to go for it again. He's spraying all the way in. Unfortunately, it'll be visuals interrupting him as they try to chase for scope. Nice backwards pedal, and that's gonna be fine for Jack. His movement insane. Now, just maneuvering around his edit, finding a little bit of space to be able to heal up as Nosh takes the driver's seat. He's looking for a few more shots. Visuals should go down soon.
That was crazy though. Jack really showing us FNCS champion. There's a reason. Nosh pops off, the highest sensitivity in the community. No need to flick there. The barrel was lined up directly where it needed to be. Smite and Larson, though, pushed the fight here. And all of a sudden, Curly's on the run once again. It's not looking good. This might be a 2-peat back-to-back here. Phazo's down. Curly Baby's starting to really thin out here. 12 elims. The tags come in. The finish is there as well. And that's the 2 pickup for Smite and Larson. Now, Smite and Larson are in a unique position. If they hop off this game, I mean, they jump into top 10, they can be consistent and make a top 6 appearance. It's going to be hard to pull that off, but it's not unreasonable to see it. For most others, though, the bulk of the lobby, that's not an option.
A lot of these teams are mentioning the Monster who are inside the top 10 or just right on it. The teams that are kind of in 15th to 20th place. It's all about just staying tempered for them, right? You don't want to just throw everything away going for the win. You want to incrementally go up. Issue is you don't have 6 games today. You only have 2 more chances to do that. So got to make sure you're not falling in the fray.
I just wanted to say, Cat and Frog
Yeah.
They do not want Skakuga and users to win.
That's true. That's more 50-50s for the whole of finals.
For the entire finals. Just think about that as we start watching these teams that are claiming these drops, that are playing contested drops in the qualifiers. When they win semis, they bring so much problems to the finals lobby, and it's gonna happen.
If you miss any stories with these teams, if you're looking to stay up to date, FN Competitive on Twitter is where you can tune in. At FN Comp Official on Instagram to see a few reels here and there.
Definitely some big plays there. Wasn't play fight looking solid. Their draw spot. Sunny over here on the beachfront. Things are chilling right now. The lobby already went through its course of the early game. Big eliminations, huge trades, and now we're starting to coast our way through this game.
Illest rocking in with user. Golden, silver. They might just be losing their shine, it seems like, today. Unfortunately for this team, cannot be able to keep up overall when it comes to damage, when it comes to pressure. Both these teams having struggles, but we're setting up the fact that they can still end up making finals. Game 4, Game 5, even though they're not consistent, if they get that VR monster, if they stay in that seat, unwavered, there might be a chance.
They can go straight to finals. That's the magic about the semis and the way the format plays out. You can win today, and you can go all the way through. You can punch your ticket in. Winning a game in these final settings is no easy feature. Like we said, if you watch that Mason and Jackson game, man, that was it. It really shows you how difficult it can be. Even with high ground, even with the mats, even with everything fair, Nut and Chucky managed to pull it off. But it's experience. And you know what? Watching these teams, watching these players, Golden, AV continue to make these appearances. They'll continue to improve every season, especially now that the game's changing. So we'll see who's got the momentum in their sails.
See how it works as Illis and User kind of turn on the gas in the fight. Yeah. TK and Rituals up against Chris. They've been having a lot of trouble, it seems like, just getting active into a spot to be able to play their game. Nevify, though, gonna be one of the trades. Ritual is going to be able to full finish, but at the cost of his own life. Chris is just looking on point in this game.
There it is. Finally, Illis gets some shots inside, enough to make the push here. It's time to jump in. Another tag there. It's going to go ahead and give him a little bit of confidence, but not enough to walk up to the wall. Notice they are taking their time. The splashes come in. That's going to tell them this is a full reset once again here. They are at a disadvantage. Slowly but surely, they do not have the max HP. And once again, Golden AV have the health advantage here. The mats, though, running thin. Illis starts to run around. Finally, the counterfire AV shuts him down. And it was because he had his last bit of material there. You know what they say, you back an animal into a corner, and that's when they're most dangerous. AV was out of material. Desperation in his eyes. And Golden and AV pull through.
I haven't seen AV do a move like that in seasons. No,
we need that.
Chapters. But it's nice to see it back here again.
We need that. That's the AV we need right there. Leaning into the pros of what made him who he is.
Yeah. All about having that tracking, leading you to exponential places, leading you to box in a linear type of fashion. It's really nice to see these guys keep it classic.
I got no follow-up, but here's
I think I covered all three there, right?
Revise, yeah, you took them all. Left no room for me. This is the guy that took the least amount of damage in the qualifier.
This is the guy taking the least amount of points in the server right now. It's kind of looking tragic.
Yeah, definitely down in the bottom of the pool here. Water's real shallow, and it's a hot day. Revi's gonna need a win if he wants to go to finals. Oh, Armored Wall comes down. That's a cool tech too. You see the pro players sometimes, they'll break that Armored Wall down to 50 HP and actually bait you to walk into it and then turn it around. And what they did right there was actually kind of wild. He shot the wall, took the wall, and then replaced it. All the while just gut feeling that the player would be behind it. That's Mason, that's NPen. Now Muzz and Play-O-Fi walk into this one. They want a piece of the action. They can sense danger all around them. Here it is. A good shot from Muzz right there, but this dumpster is blocking his linear. He's gonna leave it there though. I guess he's okay with allowing that to be the tank for the shots.
Yeah, no way someone can dive in that box with just something natural inside the way as well. don't think NPen and Mason are looking to get aggressive just yet. They're one of the top 15 spots. We're looking at 15th place in specific. One of those situations that, hey, do we get desperate? Do we go for the win? Do we keep it consistent? I feel like they can just keep things consistent for now. Maybe go for a final push in the next game. But this is the team that plays well when they're patient. When they have a game plan and they get to move. Patience is one thing. Chuck splash amounts are another. Mini Miner has a way to balance out the scales.
Thank you so much, Shire. Now, users, we talked about it earlier on, actually, the Storm Surge changes affecting these players' loadouts. Carrying more heals and users is a prime example of that. He's just picked up his 12th Chug Splash inside of his inventory. They're not taking any chances right now. Our 4th place team are looking to stay there. Let's see if they can or not.
Teams were looking dry, but not users. He's got the splashes and the map showing us that it's going north. So we're going to have a whole lot of water in play, as well as the lake's going to start to open up to the field here. For Paper and Law, though, they're one of the teams on the southern side. They got big moves to make. They're currently leading 1 to 10 points. You have to assume, right? Top 6 for sure.
They chilling.
This is it.
They big chilling. Especially after this game, I think they just take their, feet off the pedals. Wrap them up, it's fine. Same thing for Macwood and Threats, honestly. Laissez-faire for them overall. This is the result of a bunch of the teams all the way over at Bugle already qualifying, of teams that are kind of around them and take their spots in endgame already qualifying. They can have a chance to go for second height and max high ground. It's all good, and they're taking shots at each other too. That's fun to see.
What's cool about Macwood and Threats, though, a lot of the times we tune into them, it's almost like they've just been playing classic Fortnite. Nothing's changed for them.
Yeah.
They're getting to center. They're popping teams on the edges. And that works too, because what we saw, so many teams do not know how to get away from that edge. They don't know another way to overcome how much damage they're going to need. But then you have teams like Macwood and Threats that just trust in the shot and say, yeah, you guys are going to fight each other, and then we're going to take advantage of it. And that's what they've been doing round after round. They get the zone advantage. They get the tags they need. And it's been working out. Blatant Vert, I mean, they've been winning fights.
They've really been locking things in so far. That being said, I don't think I have an issue with anything Blake and Vert are doing early and mid game right now. It's this conversion rate all the way into end game, the 6th and 7th zone. That's where we're seeing trouble. Maybe the zones aren't aligning properly for them. Maybe things overall aren't looking super mighty fine. It's the reason they're right on that thin line of just the bottom side of the top 6.
I mean, yes, that last game, Zone 5 was the worst they could have asked for. It went literally the direct opposite side, and then they get there, and then Zone 6 leans into their rotation, but they didn't have material. And we saw what happened then. It was desperate, but they managed to make it work. Cease and Day, a team that was making it work in the narrative stays true, games 2, 3, 4. Rough, but let's see it. We're in game 4. They always turn up at the end, but they're one of those teams. If they're in 18th, they need 2 great games in order to jump up into the consistency if they can't win now.
All about taking fights right outside the zone. Tilt the towers way a bit far away from home. Day and Cease. All they have to do is just work together here. Day, though, sometimes takes matters into his own hands. Shotgun not firing in that moment, unfortunately for him. He's not going to have to back off completely. Regroup with Cease for the moment, but Cease is the one that gets to pick up Elsa, do a little bit more damage. No, it's a third party that comes in. Cease not finally down. Day goes all the way around and picks them up, but at the same time now, there's another team that's just beaming in. Will they find a way to sprint all the way to this spot? No, because it's outside of the zone. Day, as a result, has safety, but will be taking damage from being out of the circle.
Day's upset about that one. Cease had max HP and unfortunately just ate a crazy shot off the edit there, and the trade was not worth it. He falls down. Day left to play this one out by himself. We're just speaking about how they need a big game to jump back into consistency, and we haven't seen them win a single qualifier yet, or rather yet get even close in all the games we've watched play out, especially to round 4. So it's going to be tough, and the odds there are just extremely slim, but TabsG and Qual, this is a team that surely can win. Qual knows how to play high ground. TabsG extremely experienced.
They have to fight for it now, too. 22 points, 28th place overall. It's all about setting yourself up to just 4 complete wins. Somehow Qual survives 2 different people in his box, jumping in an impromptu. They'll be able to turn around and get a few trades back and forth. Can they get a few of the mats is the question. Qual low on HP overall, too. Going to be ahead of Surge for now, but they're so far away from finding a spot to win this game.
That was so crazy. TabsG had Qua in the box in front of him and an enemy. He didn't even realize what was going on. It was just a little too much chaos. He didn't even shoot the enemy in the box with Qua, but don't worry. Qua hit the shot that mattered most. That was onto Plur. You can see Bobby's by himself now. Crisp and Nevify, who took out TK and Ritual, on the move here. They're gone. They're saying, I don't want to be here at the Coney Crossroad. I don't need to be here either. I have the Surge, got the tags I need, and I got the Elims. I'm gone. They're going to be one of the big problems. They're starting to set themselves up on the front side. Here's Zypha and Shore, though. Fight starting to break out right now. Looking good, but the tag from the outside starts the reset here. It's on to Naves. Naves loses control of the box, and it's all over. And there it is. They're safe. Well above the Surge as well. Looking very comfortable here. The fights, though. The action doesn't stop here on the main stage. This is what happens when the game just gets a little number adjustment.
Absolutely. You see that Surge lock in just a little bit after the fact, too. All the way down to 54 from that 3rd to 4th. Tail Pump looking good in 6th, but so far also just been slightly invisible inside the deep end games. Tabs and Qua, this position, 282 above, good on ammunition, low on overall loadout though, as it's taken a lot for them to get back into the game in terms of heals. They only need the win. Consistency will not work for them anymore in this tournament. They have 2 chances to go for that. If they were looking at consistency, they might have stayed back, gone for a few more shots. They do have to work with time a little bit. Locksit and Bobby, you're not going to be able to move far enough to be able to rotate in with them, take a lot of shots for them. They will take the brute force of the entire server. 2 bases set up, top down, side by side vertically. It's one of the hardest things to overcome, and Tabs will not be able to do it. Elite, Smite, all looking downwards. Pump and Tail are the only ones to be able to live this rotation.
And crazy, the fact that Smite and Larson win the drop at the shafts allowed them to be positioned where they are, just on this mountain here. For Pump and Teo, they come in, they steal all the loot. It's looking great. Meanwhile, in the zone, D-Roller and Knifey, yeah, we need Surge. Let's fight the team on high ground. You're not safe. Not anymore. They jump on up. They get a trade here. There goes the finish, and Pledge is down. And now they get rewarded with all that sweet loot as well. And you can see that D-Roller, they were healing through that zone for a moment there. And DJ must be, his brain must be rattling right now. What just happened? How did we get rolled up on? We are in a crazy mountain position. He let his guard down, and down they go.
It's gonna be tough. Me Too now moving in. Shoney in the business too. Huge shot on the side of the mountain. He's gonna go for double dipping here. Except Snake in trouble for the moment. They are gonna be running out of time though. Shoney needs to move. 59 above the threshold. Gonna be fine for now. They'll have to get tags while they move in a drive-through type situation for Me Too and Shoney. Snake and Accept, they're looking good. They have to play max defense here. Not too many white heals available, not too much loadout available either, and not too many mats, so the damage being the only good thing for them. Yeah, you can focus on it, but you have the rest of the game to play too. Snake now dropped down. This is going to be a fun rotation, because I guess they're going to be doing it as the storm moves.
There it is. Buys themselves some time, and now they're gone. Try to make the quick rotate here. They get in front for a little bit. Have to protect the front, have to protect the back. On the other side, Paper and Law are in a problem right now. Surge is active, they're getting damaged, and they have to fight, but they're in first place. They have a little room to play with.
Fine, looking fine, just have to move in. It's a max rotate with maximum arrows. Looking their way, but they're fine, right? A few edits messed up, a few pre-edits up top too. Paper has to use everything in the bag to get here. The floor being halfway into the ground is just so rough, but they find a little bit of a distraction in the way. Lots of bases. Still not in though. This is just the halfway point. Missed edits too. You can feel the pressure. Paper now moving in. Out of woods, down to metal. 200 builds. Law behind them. All they have to do here, I guess, is just pray for the placement. They lock this one in slightly deeper, get to about 130 points. They should be so more than fine. Law is down now though, and Paper was the builder for the moment. Big jump shot. He'll be able to land it. Armored wall behind him too. Desperation for Paper right now.
Unfortunately, a little too early as well. And he used the next one as well. So there it is. No more armored walls. Zone pulls very far north. It's trouble in paradise.
Right now, the zone kind of looks like a peninsula. It just reminds me of Florida. A bunch of crazy people looking to get active. Maybe even just move out to somewhere different across the sea. I mean, they're going to be forced to for the moment. You mentioned a lake being possible as a thing in the zone monster. It came true.
Definitely an airdrop lands there, though. So at least if you get there, you earn yourself a little something for being early.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only benefit, I guess, to being over there, because there's really nothing there. It's just water.
If someone gets it, unfortunately, Paper's not going to be able to move in. 118 points. It should be fine for the whole day. One more consistent game. I don't think they're leaving that top 6. Season Day still moving through.
Cease got picked up, though.
He's good, but at the same time, have to share loot, ammo, mats. Gonna be tough to overall keep 2 people alive, but it's gonna be so much more so beneficial. They'll keep moving. They have a long line to get in, and everyone's grappling right now. Everyone's swimming inside the ocean too. Dane Cease, they'll take it slow.
I mean, at this point, I'm more shocked than anything that Day somehow managed to save Cease, who is fully finished, coming into the mid game. And now look at this. Cease finds a little splash there, heals his teammate. And yes, they are starting to run out of material. They looking for high ground, punish from behind though. Has to be careful here. He's still not quite safe. They still have to move a little bit. Users and Skuga on high ground, a team that wants to continue to play consistent. They're doing it. Ozone gets taken out here by Blake and Vert. That's great. 4 make it 5 elims when they get the finish. There it is. So a big pickup. Dubs up top 10 player. Punished. He wants to get greedy for the loot, and he actually snipes it all up.
He's gonna be fine with it. Let's see if he can actually use that Blake up and take it all the way in. Blake's slightly flustered for the moment as to how that happened, but the best thing about this is that they've got so many eliminations to get to this point, and they've pulled zone. So that one of the best situations to stay alive as a duo and go for that final fight towards the end. That being said, we're staying completely in the water. There's no chance to stick on land whatsoever. We're doing with Playify and Muzz. They really got to be being able to just work these zones together too. I wonder how they take apart this one.
Thought the Storm Surge was going to be difficult this game? No. Let's give you another problem. Let's make the zones impossible to walk on.
That's a pad for Pump and Teo. Game knowledge, map knowledge, knowing where things are. It'll cost them a lot of HP, but Pump has that medment. He has an opportunity for both players to get back up. Another fight that Blake and Max and Vert are kind of forced into. It's Dom and Tragics, it looks like. Unfortunately, Vert's going to be going down as a result. Blake will just slide all the way out. Good for now, has a loadout of dreams when it comes to fighting, but he's lost a teammate along the way.
High ground changes hands as well. Knife and D-Roller were up there, but they give it up because they don't have the mats, and now high ground is completely free. Anyone can take it. This game has now officially opened up to the lobby, and it's Users who, again, ends up finding an opportunity and takes advantage of it. Meanwhile, Neverfi waiting on the side, trying to do something so sneaky, but no, doesn't take advantage. He gets punished instead, and that's his game. He's down and out. Skuga and Users have a chance here. And again, they're going to be spelling problems for teams in the finals if they win this game now and punch all the way through.
Huge for Users, who's about to go down and take some of that loot. As Blake falls in the water, they get a bounce back and a double tarp layer to protect height. Now Users is kind of in a single. They'll go for a reconnect. Running low on mats here and a few misplaced builds might be the difference maker towards the end of this game. Remember, Monster, we've seen a lot of height teams in this situation choke that final 2v2.
That's right. The threats in Macwood are here. They're looking good as well. They're starting to eye things up. They have low mats, and they're fighting their way through this low ground, working their way through enemy builds here. Threats comes back after finding a siphon. D-Roller and Knifey come down, and it was worth it. They find a couple of elims there, and 4th place is now theirs. Blake and Vert have competition. This triple-digit mark, it's going to be everything to fight for as we get into the last game. Brocane and Dubs making it close as well. They earn a little more. They're going to be another team in the conversation for the final round, game 5 to come. Let's see it. D-Roller still on the move right now. He's got nothing, but he's got a gun. He hits the shot there. It's looking good. No one's on the low ground, working his way around the side. Brocane, meanwhile, officially out of builds as well.
We're going back to land, back to all these old builds. Will players remember where their bases are? Brocane already editing one of the old ones, looking for a few shots on the left and right. They've got no builds to work with. They have to look at just fossilized land. Pump now moving in. KO gone too. Kind of an elevated layer, but he's still in a hairy situation. The zone and a combination of big shots and damage will tick him down, take him apart. Brocane and Dubs just doing his solos almost right now, but they find each other. Kaz walking above their builds. Finally, everyone gets to get away from the sea. He gets a touchdown on the dirt. Shore will not make it to shore. He'll be able to get taken down. Threats in Macwood. They'll lose one person in the fray. One person is a cost to get here to the 8th zone. but threats. He has that potential to go for the clutch.
Look at this. Smite and Larson showing what they can do when they win the game. When they win the drop spot, they're at 7 eliminations now. A big game to jump them back in for a fighter's chance in the end. Remember, the sweet spot right now around this 3-digit mark. You want to get to the top 100 with the points there on that bottom corner. So teams are starting to close in now. Rhythm in 20. A chance to take it all home as they have the most mats and HP to work with here. There could be a chance where they turn for high ground here. Users have to be very, very careful now. It's completely free, not just yet. Rhythm gets punished, though. That's the offset. That's the setback for the team down low.
MAR knocks hard over and over again on the heads of everyone down below. Rhythm's lost his shields to it. Dubs has been losing his mind so far in the situation. He can't even see what's in front of him, but he knows exactly where Rhythm is. Drops down to the water. That was a shot that Dubs was ready for. It's not going to connect. Rokane will lead once again. The captain of the Parks in this duo. He's just led them in such great spots so far towards the end game. They're going for the 2v2, but they do have Rhythm on their layer still. Smite and Larson are absorbing all of the pressure. Suga and Users would have to assume, yep, they're out of mats. Users has all these splashes, but will he have the opportunity to use them on his terms?
He had so much more before, and now that's it. They use them. They're starting to run out of this win condition here. Users makes a jump for the builds on the side, gets caught in the middle of it, but hits every shot that matters. Larson, though, follows up the siphon, keeps Users up for a little bit longer. He tries to left camera peek, doesn't quite get it, but it's okay. He's still on the run right now.
2 splashes, is waiting for Skuga to get back in. They want to make sure they're both at max HP. Rhythm has survived all the way to this point so far. One solo, if he chooses height, that's actually an easier fight. Rokane and Dubs look to be the one to win this game.
Let's see it. Skuga and Users. That might have been the mistake, though. Everyone gave them a chance. Omega gets picked up. That could be huge. That's going to be 10 seconds. And you know Dubs is not going to mess this one up. He's going to time that perfectly. Down comes Skuga. Down goes Users. They're trading that one out.
It's a siphon that comes in for the team down below, too. That medkit might be an option, but I don't think it's a feasible one because it might just be a final 2v2 over here. Dubs ticking down to the storm. Rokane going for it. He has the med mist. He has the floppers as well. It's a classic heal off here on NAE. Look at Skuga. He's got the bank. My man is rich. Splashes to use as well. Tick it down.
Wait a second.
Let it go around on the walls is Rokane, though. He doesn't want this one to end. Skuga's ready. You can't catch him lacking. He's going straight to the finals.
And to the finals to bring terror to the drop spot. We got ourselves a story setting up here. But what a game. Wait for them to win game number 4 right there. And honestly, it could have been wraps if Dubs just had hit one more shot.
So close towards the very end. I thought that low ground team, Dubs and Rokane, definitely had it. The patience for Users to be able to just get Skuga in, not use some of those splashes, get up in another way, and then the fact that Skuga stays on the flare, going for the heal, is huge. Rokane so close to achieving that spray. You cannot surprise my man, though. Skuga's seen it all.
He definitely hits the shot there, too. The pre-fire was good, and game 4 goes to Users and Skuga. They will be going directly to finals, and that's what this weekend's all about, celebrating our players that are clutching up in the moments that matter most.
Yeah, 50-50 at Loot Lake. I can't wait to see it. Let's split up the stage in 50-50 as well and go to the other half for more info on these games.
Thank you so much, MDF and Shio Wager there. And obviously, I love a heal off, especially when it comes down to that kind of heal off. 2v2 down to the 1v1, and it was so close. It looks like they were so close to grab it, but Skuga had it unlocked there, and they're not going to be going to the finals.
I mean, so good, a dominant endgame there. And, you know, there was a stat that popped up that Skuga was actually the one getting most of the eliminations from this duo, but Users showing up and showing out here, picking up the refreshes when they were needed, but they had a pretty easy ride here, finding these last few moving zones. They were just kind of chilling up on height. No team was really contesting them, as we've seen in some of these other games, Jacob.
Yeah, that's kind of something I hinted at last time. It's going to be everybody's chance in each and every one of these games to try to take away the high ground, but Users and Skuga, it honestly starts from their landing spot over towards Loot Lake, like Shia was kind of hinting at. There's so many heals, so many chug splash, so many opportunities to carry that on over to the end game. And you can see they didn't even take the grapple gloves. The adaptations are happening on the fly.
I do want to give a shout out though to Dubs and Rokane because I think they spent half of the end game there in the water. Let's actually shift focus right now onto Pump and his duo.
Yeah, I mean, just another great endgame that we're seeing out of one of these duos. And that zone was so tough. And to be able to play consistently and get into that top 10 is really something that you should be proud of, because as Shia was saying multiple times, swimming throughout these zones, it is not easy. And you can see it in the materials here. Not a lot to work with, but it doesn't matter. Sliding into the box, no materials, knows that he has to find an instant refresh. And there you go, on to Playify, none other.
And you got to think those eliminations outlasting that long. Look at him in the top 6 right now. So even though he did go down, you see him squeak into the top 5 as well. The leaderboard is going to settle.
Ooh.
And all they have to do here is just hold on. It sounds much easier than it actually is, though.
Well, I mean, I said it before, Threats and Macwood are now so strong into that first place, 135 points. I think we can pretty much say that they're going to make their way into the finals right now. Paper and Lost Sash, though, having a little bit of an underperformance from what we saw at the start of today. And then obviously Mills and Playfire there. We got D-Roller and Knifer, Noob Teo and Elite Pump after those incredible plays, jumping up to our 5th place spot. And then Blake and Vert on the edge right there. Only 2 points separate them and our 7th place team.
Yeah, I mean, the spread of points there is just really, really close. 96 points there for 9th place. And then I think it's the top 6. It was like 102. So it's going to be very, very close. These teams do have to play consistently. But to add to your point there, Kelly, Paper and Lost, that's kind of the first time that they've had trouble with that Storm Surge. It's so aggressive that a lot of these teams can kind of get caught off guard in any of these games, which is why it's so dangerous to leave it up to the last game to where you need to scrape together a few points to actually stay there in that top 6.
Yeah, the last game, he's saying it. The nerves are definitely there for some of these competitors. And honestly, even for Paper and Lost Dash, if they go down early again, it's going to be anybody's game for the taking. I don't think anybody realistically is safe on side of that leaderboard. So honestly, it's business as usual. If you're not in maybe the top 10, top 15, it's Victory Royale, nothing.
Between 2nd and 8th place, it's only 20 points. And we know that 2nd place is worth well more than that. So guys, you heard it. There's only one more game remaining. One more chance for these teams to make their way into the finals and not have to go through the gauntlet once more in the next 2 days. But everyone, you know what time it is. Let's get to the game. The battle bus is ready. MDF and Shio, take it away.
Game 5.
Last shot for teams on NA East. Last shot for any of these players to go straight towards the finals. It's anyone's game now, Monster.
It is anyone's game. You saw what happened there. Skakuga and Users take home the win. They're going to be bringing all types of trouble to the finals, and these are the stories I'm looking forward to most. And this is just the beginning of the weekend, the beginning of the chaos as more teams will continue to enter into the fold. But again, there's only one more chance now.
Absolutely. The top 6 can rocket in after this game. The Victory Royale is also sending any of the teams, even last place, straight to the finals. And then as Monster mentioned, it's just the first day. There's 2 more days after this. There's $600,000 plus on the line inside the finals. So much these teams are fighting for.
That's right, and this is the semifinal stage. This is it. Tomorrow, it's 6 games. Sunday, another 6, and we're going all the way to the end. But here, a story has to finish. Who's going to take it home? Well, the battle bus is ready.
There's so many different people who deserve this so much. There's so many different situations that can occur too. Someone in the top 6 can qualify, way in the lead. That makes the tiebreaker, that bottom part of the top 6, that much closer too. I'm looking at Macwood and Threats, Monster. I feel like they're a shoo-in to win this game.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm looking at Jackson. I'm looking at Dauda. I'm looking at these players that have stalemated around that 9th position, 8th position. Players that had chances. Top 3, 2nd, like we saw there. Those are the teams I want to see perform and pop off right now.
And I'm looking at Desperation as well. Curly, Fazo. Curly trying to make a wave all the way towards that top chest. We'll be seeing many weird things from so many players across the map, trying to thwart any of the players on their drop, trying to turn that 50-50 into a 100% and 0 on the other side. Look at it, Dijon and Pledge already so close. The absolute disaster. Oh my goodness, Pledge, you keep the dream alive.
I was going to say, that's not it, Chief. The 50-50 in the last game when you can play for the win. That was such a risky move there, but everyone put it on the table. Hey, man, when you're outside the consistency threshold at that point, you just have to go for the coin flip. They need the surge tags. These quick eliminations mean so much more than just staying alive and having a chance to win this one.
Fazo and Curly have just been absolutely dominated over at Shifty Shafts after that first game. the adjustment from Smite and Larson has just been too good right now, and it's unfortunate that they have to have maybe a little bit more loot overall on the shafts, but just the bad position. They're suppressed overall for Surge.
I think they're actually 2 for 2. It's just Smite and Larson have done so much more when they managed to win. 11 to 18th, I mean, it really could have been anyone's story. Both sides would have just been one game away. They would be in the conversation for a real shoe-in for a top 5, but now it becomes closer and closer. Here's the team that I want to focus on the most, though, Jackson and Dodo.
Yeah, when it comes to these guys, they're in a very kind of pickly spot. They can keep playing consistent like they are, bank on that top 6. Maybe someone ahead of them gets the win, and there's a chance for them to maybe slide in, possibly on even a tiebreaker. Or when they're in a position where they're in the top 5, they can choose to forget second place overall, really push for that win, take big risks. Being kind of 9th, 10th, you're really in such a pressurized spot. You have to make sure your game plan is super sound.
Don't forget, if you win what you do, you just sandwich the threshold.
Yeah.
Take the win, you cut it short, and you make it very, very close. Now, if you're a winning team already, if you're a Macro Threats and you win, you open up the threshold. You give other players an opportunity. So it really can go either way. Both sides are going to be very, very telltale for us. But take a look here. Nets and Siki win their draw spot. Smite and Larson finally get down into the shifty shafts, ready to get this engagement on and pop in here. And remember, they're pretty much even on the exchanges here. Larson's going to be the first one punished back against the wall, but he hits the shot first, and it's a trade. Smite now. Literally fair game between the two. Material count's going to go to the advantage of the low ground player of Fazo here. The wall's his too, but he jumps in the box. Smite hits the shot, follows up as well, and wraps things up. Smite and Larson win again.
Just huge from Smite to be able to work these long-range picks, but at the same time, when it matters most inside the box, that shotgun does not miss. They call it the 2-shot. It gives them a second chance overall to be able to play this game as well. D-Roller and Knifey, they're looking for their second chance to have control too. Had height at one point, had the win in the bag, kind of overplayed that spot. It was so hard to hold. They lost it all.
Look where it leaves them, 108. Very close to the rest of the competition as well. Way to make it difficult for themselves. Macquarin Threats off in the distance there. They've done what they had to do today. Every team they encounter will be bad for them, but hold up. Mateo, just 105, 3 points away.
Really lock it in.
Jumping up.
It's tough for them. They're in that spot too. Do we play consistent? Do we bank on that, right? Or do we push really to go for the win? Not leave things completely up to chance. Polo Sneaky have to win this game if they want to make it to finals. There's no chance consistency will net them a spot there. They're chasing down though. I'm liking the aggression here. I'm liking how they're on the same page, but now they switch over to the 1. Polo looking for even more of a shot. They have so much to lose here with all these heals in the inventory. Sneaky cannot go down. There's too many teams around. The reboot will not be able to come through.
They're moving in quick as well. Take a look at the teams that are starting to roll up very, very fast here. Everyone wants a piece of the fireworks here. And all of a sudden, things slow down now. His body's still down. There it is. Johnny finally gets finished. And let's take a look at the wide shot. Glace and Elite, one of those teams. Knifey down in the distance. D-Roller has to ditch Knifey as a team rolls in on him. And that's an emerging story just on the outskirts. Meanwhile, Elite and Glace jump literally into the fire pit. And all of a sudden now, all types of battles going on here. That's actually law and paper. A team that's in contention for top 5.
They're just going crazy with it. They realize every point matters for them to just stay inside even top 3, top 4.
Well, they're
the more elims they just pick up, yeah, from second, they can rise, and rise. There's no point for them really to take really stupid risks and be in spots where they might be, too close to a team. They're just going to be facing up slightly somewhere where there's an angle looking at these 5-way fights, taking some shots, maybe even at this point, just saw it happen, getting a few eliminations, and then moving off after the fact. Coney's going crazy, though. There's so many different teams here. So many different people around. Tilted kind of the opposite from most usual games. There is one box fight that Scope and Visuals actually end up winning this time. And no one else really wants to mess with the teams deep downtown. Also, we've been seeking some Surge and some information on how that's going. Mini has Seek strategies available for interest as well.
Thank you so much, Shia. Now, for Seek and his teammate, they'll be seeking out that top 6 or even a victory round. They need to pull out all the stops to make that happen. You can see Seek using the DMR to get as many tags as possible and then end up dropping it. We've seen it all day today. Prioritizing heals over weapons with this new Storm Surge change is so important. Will this help them on the road to a victory royale? We'll have to wait and see.
Actually uses it to have a fresh smelling experience with his Surge rising up. They do let it go though, Monster. You don't want to keep that DMR for the whole game. I like the adaptation, the dynamicism from C.
Yeah, definitely. Playing flexible here on the day. Definitely strategy coming into play. We see some fresh strategy here from Muzz and Playify as well. They're targeting teams in a distance. But we're going to jump back over to that congested battle that's now dragged its way out of the Coney on into the outskirts here. Elite and Glace chased out of the drop. Costs them all their wood, all their brick as well. And the tournament's on the line. Notable names that fell in the feed, though. Batch is down and out. Knifey no longer here to protect D-Roller, and they're in 4th. If D-Roller goes down now, that's it. That spot will open up. That position will be up for grabs. And then you have teams like Plur and Bobby, who we know can take home a win in arguably more difficult lobbies that are still in this game and actually cooking up here. Let's see Kosa and Zeus right now in a fight. Playing defensively, a lot of maps. Mason and NPen though. The team on the pressure.
Mason down, 17th place for NPen overall. I was assuming they were going to be really strong. They've had so much experience in the qualifiers as well. And this semifinals, there should have been a shoe-in for top 6 at least, if not a defensive type of win from the low ground. Unfortunately, no control on second height, no control in this last game as well when it comes to just playing the early and mid. Mason's gone down inside the fight. It's all at the NPen now. There's a chance for them to wrap this all up and go for a reboot over at Greasy. But even then, I'm looking at NPen rocking through all this metal, playing super scared here, rightfully so. Costa's taken down this team in multiple games. They're facing their enemies once more, and it looks like they're losing for now.
Needed to strike where the iron was hot, and unfortunately allows his team to heal up, and now all of a sudden he's on the back foot here. Tries to go for the race off. Costa's there to meet him with a big shot. The 2-shot follows up, makes it look easy. Siphons enough to keep him in the business here.
It's huge for Costa and Zeus. Absolutely cleaned up. They've got chug splashes on chug splashes now. We saw how many were in the inventory of NPen as well. They already had 12 walking into it, so it'll be fun to see exactly how they break down. Blake and Vert also rocking in. I haven't seen too many dead side rotates today, but they're making it work.
They got to Elim off the gate. Oh, it's a big shot opens up here. Time to sit down and pause. That's Macwood and Threats there in the distance. The team that are leading with the most points here. We talked about Macwood and Threats in particular. Going to play upset to someone today. And will it be our 5th place of Blake and Vert, who absolutely need this?
I mean, Dubs and Rocane hopefully hope so. They're in 7th overall. If 5th goes down,
need that.
They go straight up into that top 6.
We jump back to Macwood and Threats here. We get to see their perspective. They're just farming tags on this outer edge. Team to the side here. Let's see it out in the open. More tags hit. It's Playify and Muzz. 3rd place. Another team that can't literally afford to fall here. They're all around that 112, 114 and below threshold. You fall, and you face being the bar for 6th place. Quite literally the bar for 6th place. And that's leaving it up to anyone else popping off there, so you don't want that.
I like the fact that they push so far close to the edge of the last circle. They push everyone else around them, away from them. They have a clear line then to move straight towards the next circle, safe towards the safety of the next zone. Next to Nick, 8th. They'll be locking in. Looking to get 2 more places up, looking to make it towards that top 6. Once again, top 6 qualifies to finals. The Victory Royale winner also goes all the way to finals. If it is a top 6 team that gets the VR, they just get removed from everything. Another team gets to go into that top 6.
That's the threshold. That's what'll happen. Anyone inside honestly the top 6, yes, exactly. If you win that game and you get pushed out, it's gonna be a blessing for someone who would have otherwise been edged out in 7th. Muzz and PlayFi only 20 damage above the Surge right now. 112. I thought that was 114. I was giving them a little too much credit earlier. It's even closer than that. 2 elims separate them from the top 6 position essentially here. So it really is nothing. You can't fall.
One grapple used by Muzz there under pressure. I hope that doesn't matter later into the game. Big thing too for them, Monster mentioned their Surge. They're going to be going into a situation where they can't play that Muzz and PlayFi patented low ground type of situation, to be able to move around the safety of calmness and think about what's going down. If you've noticed, we've watched so many teams just running, moving 24/7, so much so that D-Roller gets to stay back a bit at Coney, get Knifey back up with the business. He gets tagged down a little bit though, all the way to 50 HP. I'm wondering how that happened if the team was actually looking in. We're moving away from the grasslands, away from the cities, Monster, straight towards the mountains. This is a final test from NAE East. We just went from a water zone, which is so tough to judge horizontally, to now the snowy portion of the Fortnite map, where things get crazy with the mountains.
It's equally as difficult. It's a tough zone to play, especially if you don't have the grapple glove, and we've already seen how many teams have opted out of it. Threat to Macwood on the heels of Fleur and Bobby. One of the only teams that have a victory from any of the other stages of round 4 and then coming into the semifinal stage. But now, one man's down. Bobby's out. Fleur's out. It's over. Macwood threats. Play spoiler to them. And now, we'll play spoiler to Blake and Vert as they get focused out too. Glace is going to be on the other side who gets the full finish there. And that's unfortunate. 5th place is officially down. That's a position that's going to open up.
Anyone can fill it now. This is just a big mix-up. And why is this happening? Macwood and Threats do not care about anything. They could have had a chance to be way deep into the zone. They could have had a chance to just play a calm game. They're choosing to cause commotion, ruckus for everyone moving in on NAE East.
And now Blake and Vert are hoping anyone inside the that was just above them win a game. That's Muzzify, that's Play. They need a win. Macwood or Threats. Any of the teams that were giving them direct competition, if those guys take home a victory out, they have a little bit more buffer room to work with. And it's possible. I mean, we know it's possible. Look at this. Jackson Dowda, heels looking great. Matt's looking pretty solid. They're moving in. They're looking to strike and strike quick. They're about 10 points off the mark. This is direct competition for Blake and Vert. This could mean everything right now as the Surge gets active. If Tragics and Dom need to fight, they have such an advantage here. I mean, it might just be wraps.
This is tough for everyone on the server. You'll notice that this is almost uncharted territory. Very few old builds propped up. Every tree still alive as well. There's so much wood to be able to be found. Dottas needs to calm down as he goes through, but there's a crossfire across the map. Jackson's caught it at 2. Shields lost for the team in 8th place. Pump, Teo, happy at everything that's going down right now. At 4th with 109, they just pray more teams like Blake keep falling down.
That's right. Those are the teams that can possibly overthrow them, but at this point, they cruise the end game. They should be solid. It's gonna be close though. Take a look at the distance there. Macwood and Threat still that thorn in player side. Rokane and Dubs at 106 on 6th place, 2 points away from Blake and Vert. A single elim puts them right there, tied up. And at that point, who performed the best on the day? Big tags come in. They needed those. They're underneath the Surge. Armored Wall comes out. It's expected. Great defense there from Redux and Rogue Shark. But we already know Redux and Rogue Shark have not played well today. It is very, very likely Dubs and Rokane are going to catch a big body. Meanwhile, Nyx and Nick here trying to stay in the game.
104, they're 2 points behind Dubs and Rokane. 1 elimination behind Dubs and Rokane. And the rest of the high table at the top 6. They have not made it in yet, and they've got many guards to pass by, the first of which is going to be the likes of Pump and Teo. 18th place for Ozone and Rapid. They have had much struggles today to be able to keep up on Surge. I think every single game I've seen them go down or be affected by it. 301 below. 300 damage below at this point. Go to your living room, talk to your mom or something. I don't know what's happening. And playing this game now seems impossible.
It means nothing. They need a win. This surge irrelevant. They need to just stay alive.
They're not gonna survive.
Go fight. Finally, the threshold looks like we get met somewhere, and we get to stay in this.
This is impossible for Rapid and Ozone. I think they, get past the 4th zone. That 5th zone surge will come in. They're 260 damage down. They're isolated. It's tough to get out of that spot. Meanwhile, Pump and Teo just 2 points ahead as well. It's a tie at 4th, 5th almost. It's cascading down by 2 points every time.
Blake's in 5th.
Blake's, we know that he's basically gone for the moment.
108.
There's no chance.
5th.
There's just no chance at the 108.
I don't know.
Threshold. 3rd at 121. There's 4 teams around Blake that are just right there.
They're too
close. They survive for just a little bit. It's over.
And the surge is active, so let's see who goes down first. Pump finds one. That's a knock off the Paul. That's huge. PlayFi's in a battle right now. Damage. He's down and out. Muzz left to defend by himself. Jackson finds PlayFi. That is also massive. This is Jackson on the other side of the wall. Top 10 is here. They're here to play. They want this more than anybody. Jackson needs this. But he doesn't come in. He doesn't finish it.
They're on a timer as well. Muzz needs to get PlayFi up in the next 30 seconds, so he has a little bit of help with Surge as well. And 25 is about to be active. Jackson used to get those tags to be there for the box fight. He has to expose himself. It's just Donna. No minis in tow to be able to actually be popped just now. Grapple, heals, everything down. A chance at finals gone. At 8th place, it's not going to be enough for Muzz and PlayFi. Yes, he got his boy back up, but they go down 2. 3rd place locked in at 122. Is it enough to make it to the finals?
What's that I hear? Blake and Verse still have a chance? Okay. 108.
Look at all these other teams. I think there's 4 tied for the 108 spot, and they are all still alive.
It's still very, very close. 4 of the top 5 teams have been eliminated. And that is how close it is right now. Pump and Tail being one of the few in there. Smite and Larson have a chance to go to endgame and come back and snipe up a top 6. What in the world are we watching right now? How often does all of your players that have a shoe-in a coast to 1 endgame and you're through? How often do they all go down and then you leave the entire bubble ecosystem to actually do something? Look at this. Broken and Dubs. They're now in 5th.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime frequency monster. That's what it is for all these players. 111. They pass by Blake. It's Smite and Larson who've conquered the Shifty Shafts mountain. Now they have a mountain to climb in front of them and a mountain to climb on the leaderboards as well. Then they make it deep into this game. They take over 120 points. Rocane and Dubs are looking good. They'll be past the 3rd place team of Muzz and PlayFi, who are also currently down. 1st place team overall, 2 Threats and Macwood, 135 points. Should have enough for now, but who knows what's happening with all these teams in the mix. 6th overall for Nick and Nix. They are in tied at 108.
51 below right now. It's all or nothing. Let's see it. 15 seconds, make a move. They're starting to go up. Hamstel's close.
8 shots.
Not close enough. Teams go down. That's placement points. They've done it.
7 seconds.
Blake and Vert get pushed out. This is it. Now everyone has a chance here. The field really starts to open up. Teams inside the top 10 or so can continue to jump up right now. Nix and FN are holding the threshold here. Pump and Teo are up at 117, just barely above them. They need a little bit more, and they've done it.
It's just so close for everyone still. There's too many teams that can have a chance to qualify right now, all the way down to the top 10 at Smite and Larson. So many people missing outside or in the top 5 and even outside that too. Nevify at 12th has a chance. Cease might even come back. Fuse AC is a little bit far away, but with that win sending you to the finals as well, there's a chance for them too. OMGB2 up top at 24th place. He's trying his best to stay alive towards the top side of one of these zones, but he gets just brought down. Double edits ready at the perfect time by Fuse. He jumps into the box as well, looking for the spray, but there is no way he can penetrate these walls. The wrap around from the backside is enough, but they spent so much time in the storm. Will they be able to make it out for the rest of the game? Rocane and Dubs, Paper and Log, Kicks and Sphinx. And the best spots on the map, and Nick and Nix also come gliding by 114th points. They are chilling Kind of. They're in the heat spot at top 6.
They're just there. They're just holding on. At this point, if anyone inside the top 6 wins, things start to get real interesting and the bar lowers a little bit and space opens up. And then we really come down to the wire. We really come down to the numbers. For Dubs and Rokane, they're in that conversation also at 117, so you can see how close it is down there. DNC still alive right now. They still have a chance. The first time we see them in an endgame today, and they have a chance. Elite, hurt, Elsa down. That's a refresh for Rokane and Dubs. They've definitely done enough, right? They have some points. 116 for Nick, and Nick's here looking pretty solid. 2 elims, not too bad. Let's see the slide around here. 20 above the serve, the edit. It's their wall, okay. Working together now.
Have to push forward here. Want to make it past 121 point threshold to move up another place. They've taken over so many down teams already. Costa, though, up in this layer. A lethal force, a big shot to be reckoned with. Nick glides right by it. Doesn't even want to do the problem. He elects to pass. Now going down a little to low ground. Can't Nyx follow him? He's so low. 120 points. Nyx doesn't make it. Nick has to see his boy get boxed up and go down. It's Law and Paper that pick him up off the ground. Nick now scared inside the box. Rokane and Dubs go just crawling around the left side on the snowy grass down below. They're up in 4th place already. Nick with no builds is trying a way to stay alive. He might just go down. 6th place right now. It's all up to him, but he gets locked out too.
There it is. Down and out. Dubs and Rokane are still up here to earn some points. And remember, for all the other teams you see alive right now, Ritual's still in this game. Sphinx is still in this game. TK is here on high ground. Anyone can win and go directly to finals, but the most impressive is Larson and Smite, who are down in the bottom, who came into this game in the gutter, on the bubble, currently in 7th, leading the front side of the rotate here. 109, they have officially passed Vert and Blake. The chance that that could have even happened is incredible, but they're earning more and more points now. Have they done enough? I think they're gonna need to push a little bit further to really seal the deal. Meanwhile, Neverfy and Chris are right on those heels, and I mean, they are stepping on the shoelaces.
They're 15 points away. The other team is just 10. It's a 5-point difference. Chris and Neverfy, though,
they're not
much
safe.
of a tougher spot. Neverfy has just had such low HP. Smite and Larson both full on HP, both full on the builds as well. So they have a chance. A pedestal just lock down this base. Yes, the armored walls. It's huge from Larson to cover the ground. Gold, though, focusing them. Cease on the walls as well. This is huge for Larson. It's a free pickup. 116, 5 points away from that big spot right in front of them. They could possibly also push for that win. Smite and Larson need just 2 more eliminations here. Maybe just 1 with that placement threshold 2. But players are running out. Bodies are disappearing. There's just 3 other teams with them right now. One of them, no, almost 2 of them being a solo for the moment. Larson hunting for it on any layer. It's getting close. Time winding. A 9th place team below him. That might be the fight. He sees the shot. He does not get the trade, and he gets dropped.
There it is. Cut down. Smite by himself. A 2v1 situation with his team on high ground. Healthy as ever. Watching down low. They go up. And the timing was bad for the low ground team, and Smite is still in this game. The one shot doesn't hit it. The edit comes in. The points go to low ground. They're starting to really gobble them up here. And Crisp and Neverfy suddenly have a winning opportunity in front of them. And they need the win if they want to go to finals. And they get the win. And they go to finals. Just like that.
That is huge. Almost there on the spot to top 6. Kicking out multiple teams who have the seats above them, but they don't even care about that top 6. They go for the VR. They go for that premium ticket straight towards the top.
And we didn't know what was going to happen there. We had a 2v2v2, every chance, every team, a realistic opportunity. But for Golden, the timing was so unfortunate. He comes down when the Larson snipes his way up. Look at Neverfy, takes off the headset. He deserves it. He's feeling good about that one. He pulled through, and Game 5 will go their way. Chris on YouTube, check him out. Flew Neverfy 7. Congrats on the win.
What a day for NAE, and what a way to end it as well. That type of situation, 15 different teams ready to take a spot, but only 1 had a glorious win all the way at the end.
And I was holding on. I was holding on to dear hope for everyone. You saw in the end, once Smite and Larson came in, we're like, oh my gosh, we really have something here. But from us here, you know what? We're going to wrap things up. That was Game 5. Let's send it down to Kelly.
Thank you so much, MDF and Shio. And we'll see you guys in just a moment. But my goodness, big shout outs to Nevify and Crisp. And you know, they were really close, reaching around 8th place, but they said, no, that's not how we want to win. We want to get the VR.
Yes, they did. Another team that was very, very close. It was Larson and Smite. I know I saw them in the 7th position towards the end there, but I'm not sure if they actually squeaked out enough points to get into that top 6. Everything was going chaotic in the end game. I don't know if they picked up enough placement points, found an elimination or not, but we'll have to wait and see until the leaderboard shows up. But I mean, great run out of them. As you can see here, going into that first moving zone, they were actually in 10th position. So to find themselves in 7th position and an opportunity to get into that top 6 consistently, qualification is a feat in its own right.
Yeah, and you got to imagine just looking at the loadout, the minis, the big pots, the grapple gloves. They went through so much chaos and still found themselves towards the end game with a loadout that could still have lasted longer if they would have just found just a couple of more eliminations. But only time will tell what the leaderboard shakes out to be.
Grabbing elimination after elimination, but when you're going up against Crisp and Nevify there, it's a hard fight to win.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. They had everything going for them towards that end game right there. So much chaos, as we mentioned, and they were just a really set forth duo here. As you can see, 100 for almost both of them, with one of them only having 90 HP, and then the eliminations were falling just right in front of them. Like, literally, they didn't have to make an edit until somebody fell down right in front of them. It was like, oh, look at that free elimination, and then they just find themselves in this 2v1 against Golden, who, you know, shout out to him for trying to put up that victory route for his duo as well.
Yeah, I love the solo on height with that hope and everything, but he's got another day to give us a chance. But everyone, let's remind ourselves who was able to make their way into the finals through that VR. So Minnie, take it away.
Thank you so much. Now let's break down, of course, which teams managed to make their way all the way to the finals with just victory royales alone. Game 1 shy, NAE and Cooper coming out on top.
Yeah, Cooper with that kind of clutch play sitting down below. NAE being the loud man he always is. You love to see it. It was glorious. Not in Chucky, some of the best rotations I've ever seen in that 5th zone when the pressure is this high. They locked that in 2 months.
And also, just a big win from Nut and Chucky. Mind you, the low ground win up against Mason Dowda, that was crazy. Spade and Chimp, my pick, end up doing what they needed to do. They pull home that victory royale. That was impressive. And then we jump into Skuga and Users, right? This is an interesting one because they are clearly contesting teams in the finals, which is Cat and Frog there at their drop.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do in the finals. Of course, really, really well played game from them. And of course, game number 5, Crisp and Nevify. Now, this is actually both of these guys' first ever FNCS finals. So to you guys, congratulations. Welcome to the FNCS finals. Such a great achievement for both of these players. And I personally cannot wait to see how they do in those finals.
But that is just 5 teams that have made it through. We have to find the remaining 6 that made it through those points. So let's pull it up right now. Were they able to squeak on by? And I want to see it. Let's have it up on the screen right there. And it looks like Nyx and Nick with just a 5-point difference over Smite and Larson. But look how much Smite and Larson jumped up, 4 whole points. Clearly, this is the duo to watch in day 2 of the semifinals. But obvious shout outs to Paper Buka and Lost Dash. We have Threats and Macwood, Rocane and Dubs, Teo and Pump, Muzz and Playify, and Nyx and Nick.
Man, 4 of the top 5 teams went out early to make a leaderboard like that possible. I can only imagine how you guys were feeling casting that action, get tossed turned upside down.
Yeah, I mean, it just in those moments, seeing, you know, stories we built throughout the day just end, you know, all that hard work. But there's 2 more days still up for grabs. Some of these teams, we've seen what they have in their repertoire. Vivid, it's actually very impressive.
Yeah, let's talk about the meta a little bit, right? Like coming into day number 2, that's 11 teams now that we have qualified through the finals. And ultimately, we are bringing in 11 more teams from series points, but still, it's going to be a big shakeup on the map in respect to drop spots and stuff like that.
And we've seen so much. We've learned so much from the way the gameplay played out. The way these players were able to just manipulate the loadout, switching things up, going double harpoon, and having fun with it, I mean, it made it interesting.
Of course, most of that is as a result of the new Storm Surge change as well, so maybe a lot of these teams will be hitting the VODs. They should be.
That's right.
You know, looking at how do we change things up, how do we improve our gameplay going into tomorrow, because it's going to be very important for them to qualify.
And besides the Cash Cup, today was really the first indication that we got with the new Storm Surge changes of how that's going to change. So I'm sure a lot of these new teams coming in tomorrow are going to be watching today's tournament and learning from that. But let's learn from our own own predictions, everyone. And you know what, Vivid? I'm gonna let you take this.
Number one, Kelly. You know, give me a pound right there. Listen, it's just really, really good. They had the experience. Honestly, I pretty much picked them because of that 6th place in that Duo Cash Cup. We talked about it. The experience that they had already coming into today with that Storm Surge, that new Storm Surge, it was just way too valuable in my opinion.
Yeah, luckily for my pick though, it's 3 straight days, 3 straight chances for them to try to qualify, and they had such a rough day. I thought with getting those grapple gloves, getting an uncontested drop spot, they would have to find some way to make it through, but I think they went down so early every single game but the last, and that's not what you want to have happen.
Yeah, and in the words of the mighty Jacob on my right here, luckily for my duo, there's 3 straight days, 3 straight chances for them to qualify. We'll see what happens through months.
Listen, I get fresh picks every day. I'm feeling good now. So tomorrow I'll come in with some new looks. Spade and Chimp, you've done it. Game 3 was just nothing short of exceptional. It was fun. And then for you, you had the most pick.
Yeah, I did, and I actually got it wrong. I thought they would win a game. I thought this would be a team that would just go for the victory round based on, previous events, but they were consistent today. I was really, really impressed with how they played. I thought they played really, really well. They actually used the grapple gloves in that sort of 3rd and 4th zone, which is a lot earlier than you would have expected. It shows how, they were a lot more mature in the way they went about today, and I'm really, really pleased with them. I'm excited to see them.
Honestly, I think that's a great indication of how they're going to be performing in the finals. And remember, guys, finals going to be happening in August. You do not want to miss it. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. It's just day 1 of the semifinals. We got 2 more to go here, and we can't wait to see you on the Battle Bus.
Semis.
Shayo. 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 Shayo.